too much, now I'm swallowed. Now I'm the fool while you're breaking rules. Dangerous path that I follow. Oh, go on, just do what you do. And it hurts as I bleed for you, cry for you. Oh, let me bleed as I bleed for you, cry for you. Oh, let me bleed. Let me bleed.
And we are live, ladies and gentlemen, here for Upsurge Esports. It is the Upsurge Minor League Week 2. I am not Mr. Lemon's Cast. He will be joining us here shortly. I am the one and only Hypertension, the man with the plan, the man behind the camera, with my good buddy Gopher Reno here with me. My guy, how are you doing today?
Pretty good, pretty good. I mean, a little bit of spring allergies in the air, but other than that, thankfully the weather's finally clearing. But I mean, we have our sights set on a decently exciting match tonight here, Hyper, with both these teams being 1-0. One of these teams is going to continue their winning streak, while the other 1-1. Not the worst in the world, but hey, you always want to have that winning streak.
Yes, you do. One of these teams will be the only undefeated team remaining in the Infernal Division of the UML, but the other won't be so fortunate. And looking at these two teams, let me just do a double check. Unfortunately, again, I was here a little bit off the cuff. Let me double check to make sure who these teams be, or if you can fill that in, we go for please do.
Yeah, well, on one side, we do have anonymous esports Rose Quartz, and I mean, they have a lot of decent threat on their team. One thing I was looking at a little, though, was now their top laner, who actually has an 89% win rate on Sona top. I don't think he's played it recently, but he has been playing the Soraka top, too. So we might just be seeing a little bit of support in that top lane. Who knows?
So what I'm hearing is degenerate.
No. If you want degeneracy, there is a Zoe one trick in this game. No, jokes aside.
I'd rather have that than the support top laner. But no, jokes aside, that is very interesting. And looking at it as saying from the things from last week, we did see anonymous esports Rose Quartz defeat dead on my screen one of the teams with one of the best names in all of Upsurge. And Yukon B team did beat Akuma Kane in their match. So as we are getting ready here for draft, other than that, Sona, Soraka, what else do you think you'll see other than that, Zoe?
I mean, there are kind of a lot of questions going into this draft, because when I was reviewing these players' op.gg's before the game, I was like a little questioning on where everyone was going. But I mean, there should be some decent power picks in all the lanes, as it looks like we are in that pick and ban phase. Immediately, anonymous esports here, which is telling me that we have Fluoride, I believe, in the top lane, yes, who is a very hardcore Tryndamere one trick. And in the span of that singular sentence, we've already flown through all the bans here almost, Hyper. This is the any percent draft right here, as we are flying. Oh, wait. Pain. You know what? Our Australian viewers will be able to read clearly for once, so you know what? But unfortunate OBS slip-ups aside, this is an interesting draft so far, because if we look at the priorities here, Var's already locked in. That's no surprise with how much of a powerhouse he is, but Thresh, Zac, Kane, like, these aren't exactly champions we see a ton of here, Hyper, and it's kind of speaking to that. These are very strong personal comfort picks here for these players. Yeah, I mean, a broken clock is right twice a day, as they say. Hey, at least the portraits are still right side up. It's not like we're looking at upside down champion portraits here and going, huh? Either way, though, we are in the second ban phase here and going much more slower compared to the first one, although that's not saying much, as we do have the Vilcos and Misfortune off the table. As, still got... They really are running down this clock here.
And now you guys should be able to hear me. Unfortunately, again, there was an OBS issue where a source was not showing up. OBS is having a lot of issues today. So for those of you that for those of you that couldn't hear, there was actually an issue with OBS where it took everything and it put it basically upside down for the Yukon side. Unfortunately, as Gofreed is now laughing at my pain. So I'm here in the draft. Sorry about that. Again, production snafus. We'll have everything cleaned up for game 2. Things happen.
Yeah,
but hey,
I can't help laughing. Like, those are always just some of the funniest moments in casting where the audience can only hear half of it. So on the casters, just we're like, yeah, we're having conversation. The audience is just like hearing a really awkward one-sided conversation. Like, is this guy talking with the wall? Is he going a little loco? Like, why'd they let this madman on the caster desk?
Yeah, and not only that, I have no idea where anybody is going on Yukon. I mean, where is that Orianna going? Where's the Vygar going? Is it a Vygar bottom lane? I don't know.
It is a Vygar bot. Arthritic Boomer. He plays a lot of mage bot laners, and Vygar happens to be one of his most played ones.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen, from the word of mouth of the man himself. And on the flip side, I'm guessing that is an Ornn top and a Galio in the mid lane. Galio, not a champion that we see as much anymore, usually just because of like the nerfs that he's had and the way that his DPS works these days, and the reprioritization of his kit has resulted in him kind of falling off the ladder a little bit.
Yeah, although I have been seeing him creep up a decent amount recently in this past month or two, especially after the buffs to his ultimate where it gives his passive magic damage shield to whoever he ultimates on. That is always very huge, as we are going to wrap up the draft here with the Urgot here for University of Connecticut. So we definitely have some interesting compositions here on both sides, Hyper, with a couple of picks we're not too used to seeing here.
Yeah, absolutely not. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Now the picks will be in the right places and everything will look absolutely right. You should be able to hear me now. I believe you can hear me.
Huh? Is somebody saying something? I think I hear a murmur.
Don't even.
Yeah, jokes aside, though, that is going to wrap up the draft here. And as you can see on your screen, for all our lovely viewers, we are going to have everybody lined up in their lanes. No hardcore flexes here coming out unless we potentially see that Vygar and Orianna swap, but I think that might be the extent of it.
Yeah, right here. And there is one thing I'm looking at when I look at this Yukon draft, and I'm missing a lot of AD. I get that Urgot can do that, but your ranged attack damage will be severely lacking, whereas at least there's a balance of magic damage and attack damage on the side of Anonymous Esports Rose Quartz. When you have an Ornn on the other side, I feel like that's creating a really dangerous situation. You have just opened up a huge can of worms, and there's just... again, I just don't like it.
Yeah, it is definitely going to be a little sus, especially since Urgot, I mean, while he does do a lot of AD damage, it's not like he can, like, get the Blade of the Ruined King and use it fully effectively against this Ornn to really help shred through him. Obviously, the Black Cleaver, most likely going to be signing on this Urgot, will help him out a lot, but I mean, when you have an Ornn, not to mention a Galio in the mid lane, that is a lot of potential for tankiness to be built up. And that's not even including Yanfeng on this Kayn. If he goes for the Rost here, expect some tab eyes, expect maybe a little extra armor later down the road here, but this could be a very hard team to take down here on the side of Anonymous Esports if UConn goes into that late game.
Absolutely. And again, sorry about this, ladies and gentlemen. We are experiencing a couple technical delays in the client now this time. So, yeah, that's just issues all around for some reason. But they're not working. So things just aren't working out well tonight. Again, we'll get it fixed for game 2, game 3 if it happens, all that kind of thing. But as you said, looking at these teams, I do like the late game of both teams in terms of like how much they scale. But again, I think Rose Quartz just have the better composition. It will come down to execution, though.
Yeah, and I mean, Rose Quartz, they do have flexibility in how they execute their composition, at least in terms of builds, because, I mean, everybody knows Lethality Varus, and I wouldn't be surprised if that comes out, given that it is against that Viger in the bot lane. You kind of don't really want to interact with that. Like, if you're walking into auto range, you're walking into cage range. But if you have the lethality, you just sit in the back, you charge up Q, and you be very, very safe on that Varus. And then, of course, the Galio in the mid lane, I mean, you can go full AP, you can go tankier. Most likely going to be AP, though, since that is what Galio has been swinging to ever since, like, all those changes after his rework. And then, of course, Kayn, well, he is literally the flexible champion. You can either be an assassin or you can be that bruiser.
Yes, he can, though I do think one of them is better. It's Rost. Especially in this kind of situation where you are going to have a lot of front-loaded damage, being the Orianna and the Vigar. I think having that lifesteal to be able to negate a little bit of it, and start to heal yourself up in the middle of fights will be absolutely pivotal for Yanfeng to have in these situations. I'm very much looking on to him and Shades to be the main game changers here for the side of Anonymous Esports.
Yeah, and going back to the Yanfeng quote, I mean, I wonder, like, I think maybe this game we might see Shadow Assassin. Not the fully traditional Shadow Assassin, like, it might be, like, the new Assassin build that we see all those Assassins going, like, Katarina Town with the Conqueror, and with enough damage to burst out Arthritic and Bug on the backline, that might be something valuable here for Rose Quartz, although, I mean, I think it's easy for anyone to admit that Shadow Kayn is a lot harder to execute than that Rost, especially in a team 5 versus 5 setting. Like, with comms up, it is very hard.
To me, when I think about that, I think about the difference between executing an Aatrox pick versus executing a Talon pick. Talon is very hit or miss. He goes in, and he has some ways to get out. But at the same time, if you slip up, you're a dead man walking. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's nothing you can do. Whereas, like, if you do have that little bit of bulk, and the Aatrox, which in this comparison is the Rost, you do have that extra little bit of beef to be able to get you out of sticky situations, and you have the lifesteal that can help you survive throughout these extended fights.
And, I mean, we'll have to see, because, I mean, obviously, we don't exactly know everything here on the desk. Maybe Rose Quartz has some sort of hidden plan. Maybe they're going to go with the easy one. It's going to be very hard to call until we get into game, but I will agree with you, Hyper. My money is probably on the Rost this game. It's just that much more simpler to execute. Yeah. It still brings very respectable damage. And then, of course, especially against Scorcher Blaze on the Zac and Fluoride on the Urgot, that health damage, well, percentage max health damage, is going to be so key to shredding through them.
That was another thing I was meaning to break up, is that the Kayn does have, in that Rost form, does have the percentage maximum health damage that will be extremely beneficial in cutting through Fluoride, Scorcher, or Kiss Me Slow.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, if you do go to that Shadow Assassin, if you can get to Bug or Arthritic, you can get them. But otherwise, what are you going to do?
It can be hard, but, I mean, this is, I guess, playing a little bit of devil's advocate here. If you do go that Shadow Assassin Kayn, I mean, what can really stop you once you go? And, like, I think you have to be wary of the Vigar Cage, maybe the Thresh Hook, but I feel like if you just wait a little, those abilities tend to be blown pretty early in a fight, so maybe, but that is devil's advocate here, and like I said earlier, I'm still siding on the side of Rost here.
Yeah, And speaking of which, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go into a short spectator delay, but first, let us give you a word from our sponsors over at Sector 6.
Started with a vision of quality, a vision of uniformity. We took the time to create something familiar yet refreshing, something with a bit of change.
Designed to fit any brand's unique vision.
All of the pain seems to follow, like a shadow dark and cold to the touch. Am I insane not to let go? Oh, go on, just do what you do. And it hurts as I bleed for you, cry for you. Let me bleed as I bleed for you, cry for you. Let me bleed.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Upsurge Minor League Week 2 matchup between Anonymous Esports, Rose Quartz, and University of Connecticut B. I am your play-by-play, it's Lemons, joined by my constant co-host and cohort, Go Farino here for this Lem Farino cast. First time in Upsurge as well, so gotta check that off the milestone here. But we have some very interesting compositions lined up for us. I just want to give a quick shout out to Hyper for carrying over the draft. Really appreciate you, man. But we are going to get into the action here.
Yeah, although action is a little subjective here, I would say Lemons as we just have a couple big boys striding into the jungle and scaring off another big boy so they can put down a eyeball trinket.
Definitely looking like some beefy boys here today, but you have some strengths across the map, and that's something I kind of want to go into here. As we do, first thing I want to highlight is Shades with the lethal tempo on the Varus. I like to see it is not that arcane comet that you get to see usually with that lethality, so we could be seeing a bit of a different build coming out.
Yeah, I'm be honest. There are two ways to build Varus. There's the Intelligista build, which is called lethal tempo on hit. The Turbo Intelligence build, which is crit and lethal tempo. Or you can be the unspoken of build and go lethality comet, and I block you.
And you block them? Oh my goodness, that's harsh words there.
I mean, controversial statement, but I don't find too much fun in pressing Q all game.
You know, I feel like you could say that about a lot of different things.
It's true, yeah.
But hey.
Either way, though, I mean, we are going to get into the laning phase here, and things are pretty calm to start off. Of course, a little bit Caster Curse has a bit of a trade in the top lane.
Always. And these matchups are going to be a bit volatile. I am definitely looking at this top lane. This Ornn needs to be a bit of that rock in the top side against this Urgot, because we all know what Urgots can do once they get a little gold in their pockets, especially with that 1,000 range execute coming through. So you definitely need to be keeping your eyes on that at least. But my biggest thing here is how Yanfeng and Scorcher Blaze are going to affect the map and where they're going to be looking to put that priority.
Yeah, and Yanfeng especially, because I mean, everybody knows, like, as Kayn, you gotta make the magic happen early. Like, literally, he is only about 3/4 of a champion before he gets that evolution, and you kind of stuck ganking as that's a big old occasion in the bot lane into a flame. Nothing too much else.
Yeah, but it's actually going to go the other way, though, as Kiss Me Slow is going to get brought down pretty heavily from that trade back. And that's that poke that you're expecting from the Janna and the Varus.
Yeah, I mean, even when you do go lethal tempo Varus, yeah, I mean, you can still put in pretty decent poke if you get the autos down and then proc your blight, or even, I mean, if you just max your Q, that piercing arrow, it has high base damage. Halal and Fluoride gonna be going at it in the top lane as Halal dropping pretty low, but here comes Yanfeng.
Yeah, he's looking to get a nice early gank here, get some of that essence going for himself, as Fluoride is going to get out with just a smidgen of health. But as we see, a little bit of blue essence goes Yanfeng's way.
Yeah, and that is something I want to highlight here, because Yanfeng, he has the Conqueror, which says he wants to go for Ross this game, but
yeah.
Take a look over at UConn here, Lemons, like Fluoride, Bug, Boomer, Kiss Me Slow, all ranged champions, so you only really have Scorcher Blaze, and he's in the jungle.
Have to find that Zac. As we do look at the map, the Zac is on the enemy side of the jungle here as well, and I really am excited to kind of see how that all plays out with the formation for Rost or the Shadow Assassin form, because I think there are viabilities both ways. I prefer, as we've already said before, I prefer the Rast myself, especially into this composition. You look at the Zac and the Urgot, it just gets so scary if you don't have that bit of counter engage. Yeah, he's looking for it here.
There's the charge.
Actually gets over the wall there, but is he going to be able to stun him up long enough for the damage to come down from Bug? It is not going to happen, but at least his presence has been shown.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really think Sergeant Hades was going to drop down there. He had it Aftershock up. He has Flash. Like, he should be out, but you know what? Getting a bit of chip damage on him, getting a little prio in that mid lane for your boy Bug, that's going to be pretty nice, especially if Bug wants to back soon, as there's the big Justice Punch.
I am so in love with Galio mids just because they're so lethal, and like you can't do anything while they're just sitting there smacking you, and especially with the chicken skin, it just makes all those extra noises. It just gets so much more fun.
Yeah, like when I get autofilled mid, Galio mid is one of the champions I play because I don't really need a brain. The other champions I play mid happen to be Morgana and Sivir, so
oh goodness,
I like to play brain dead things in the mid lane when I get autofilled.
Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna go block you real quick. Hold on 1 second.
I once tilted a mid lane main when I played Sivir mid, and he was Echo. He's like, "Dude, I can't do anything, and you keep clearing the waves." I'm like, I mean, yeah, I'm Sivir. Like, that's kind of what I do.
That's a very interesting mid laner, but hey, I have to say we might have some potential for some cool souls coming through. We do see the first dragon is that Mountain Drake, and meanwhile, as I'm talking about that, we're gonna see a nice little trade going on the top side. Fluoride looking to put those bullets into Halal there. it's going to get the better end of that one.
Yeah, I mean, Ornn, he's usually able to win out in trades because he's just able to soak up so much damage, but in his current state, not having the corrupting potion does kind of suck here. Oh,
Flash
that's a big
forward. He's going to use the ulti as well. Is he going to be able to get the health down? As it is not going to. Fear Beyond Death is going to be used. Big cooldown. Meanwhile, Yanfeng is going to start this dragon up.
Yeah, and Fluoride with not enough damage there onto this Ornn. You have to remember, Halal, he now has that Bramble Vest complete, which is actually such a crucial item against Urgot in lane, because each time he hits you with the Gatling gun, it is proccing that Bramble Vest on him. So you're just getting a ton of free damage on him. Not to mention the healing reduction, especially against Conqueror. And I don't know if he took Ravenous Hunter this game, but let me quickly check that. But even if he didn't, that's still quite a lot. Cage going down the bot lane.
Yeah, you see the cage being used there. Just a little bit of a distraction tool. Actually was able to get a stun with it there. As we do look to the top lane, Scorcher Blaze was looking to try and get Halal here, but a bit of a defensive lane as it's going to be a bit rough to do that. He's waiting until the last second. Ornhorn comes out. We might get to see Halal fall here. That's going to be a big Ornhorn, but it doesn't save his life. First blood going over.
And that is pretty big, putting Halal behind, because me and Hyper were talking about this a lot in Champion Select Tier Lemons, that this Ornn, he's going to become a problem as the game goes on, and he just itemizes all these resistances, because it's going to be very hard for Boomer and Bug to really get through him. And Fluoride, he might have a little bit of a pickle too, but getting the Urgot this early small lead, putting this Ornn behind, that helps a lot. Big hook in the bot lane, but no cage.
And that shield prevented a lot of the damage from the Comet there, as we're going to see the fight continuing there as the poke comes out from both sides. And now we're going to see a quick back from Shades, but not a lot of action early on here. And you got to think about the Kayn a little bit. It is 8 minutes into the game, and we haven't seen much Essence go over his way. It is a lot easier to get that Essence right now since the buffs, but still, you do have to make an effort at least.
Yeah, and I mean, Kayn, don't get me wrong, he can farm the jungle pretty damn well, but you gotta evolve at some point in this game, and earlier is always better than later. Still, though, I mean, he was able to... Oh, that's a big hook.
Huge death sentence going through. That's going to be the flash used, and huge pickup by Boomer. He's going to pick up his kill on the bot side with that primordial burst and show the Janna who's boss.
Yeah, and Snickers MVP, buddy, like... Maybe a little too aggressive there in terms of positioning. Maybe he's a little too overconfident. Either way, that hook lands, he dies, and that's both his Janna's sums down, which is going to make her a lot easier to kill the next time a hook lands or Scorcher Blaze lands an elastic slingshot.
Elastic slingshots are gonna be so key here, and I love the engage that Zach has around the pits, especially as we are speaking of pits. Yanfeng picking up that Rift Herald, and it just provides that much engagement, especially if you are behind on the objective pace. You can actually get in there and try and steal and be a bit disruptive. So I want to see how Scorcher Blaze pulls that off, as we have 2 minutes till another dragon, but. Going over the game state here, everybody's pretty even. The only big lead I see in CS, at least, is going to be Bug in that mid lane on the Orianna.
Yeah, it kind of does make a little bit of sense. You do have the range advantage. You are continuously harassing this Galio, but things are going to be getting easier for this Galio as time goes on. Scorcher charging up the slingshot, goes in. Shades looks to be out of it. Also, look on the wings here, though. Yanfeng is sitting and prowling for a potential gank here.
Going up the lane as well, so don't know if he's actually going to be able to get anything pulled off here, as now we see Scorcher Blaze going away from the bot side. But the commitment here coming through from Kayn is admirable, as you see he's now going to try and run away a little bit. I think the biggest thing right here is they want to try and get a play with the Rift Herald, and as I say it, Caster Curse. They're looking to do that because they saw that the Zac was heading away from the bot lane, so this gives you an opportunity to try and get a couple of those plates.
Yeah, and it would be very handy to get in that bot lane. Yeah, that is going to be the double plates going over. 320 gold for Yanfeng, but you have to keep in mind, it's like, what is this Kayn doing here that other junglers wouldn't have at this point? Like, why not just pick the Olaf here? Like, he has the same farming potential. He has the same early game objective taking potential, but you don't have to play the game of can I evolve in time or not? And
No.
Yanfeng, personally, I hope
Yeah.
you prove me wrong.
Me too. I completely agree. And we do have some interesting information here. It might be the first time I've ever seen it. Level 6 was not chosen. The R was not chosen there for Snickers MVP. I wonder if it was just a misclick or if we maybe see a little bit of strategy coming out, especially because he was getting ganked at the time that he hit level 6. So could have been something along those lines. But honestly, that's huge because that means that in these next couple moments, Boomer and Kiss Me Slow have a chance to make a play on it.
Yeah, because there is still that Ignite up for Kiss Me Slow. And I mean, if an Ignite plus a Vigar combo doesn't kill either of these bot laners, something is being done wrong here by UConn. Like, I don't know how else to phrase it here, Lemons, but there is an Ocean Dragon being started up here by this duo of Scorcher and Bug. So this could be a pretty decent pickup here.
Both teams just seem to leave the objectives by themselves. You know, if somebody starts it up, they can have it. Why not? Just at least for the
Cloud
first couple
Soul.
dragons. Yeah, we're gonna get the Cloud Soul this time. As level 7 has been achieved by the Janna, she goes ahead and uses that ultimate. Not gonna get a lot of the healing out, but did get the knockback. It actually saves her life. So Snickers MVP able to get out.
Yeah, so technically that was a favorable trade here for Anonymous Esports because they traded an ultimate for that one summoner spell and another ultimate. So, but tempo-wise, it might be favoring UConn here because this Janna kind of wants to back. But if she backs, that means Shades is kind of all alone under his tower without that chain of corruption. Sure, he has flash, sure, he has cleanse, but you kind of can't cleanse a Zac combo, and you can only cleanse either the Thresh Hook or the Vigar Cage. You gotta pick one.
Pick one is indeed the call, as it's very hard to choose, I have to say, as we still just see a bit of a farm fest going on with these junglers. They haven't been able to get a lot going with the ganks, as we kind of mentioned earlier, where Yanfeng still is not going to be getting that transformation just yet. But even Scorcher Blaze has tried a couple engagements that haven't gone his way, so definitely looking for that pull off for the junglers here. As I'm talking about it, Yanfeng comes through. That's an Ornhorn going to be used. Flash by Fluoride is not going to get the knock up there, and so he gets out with using a big summoner spell.
Yeah, but I don't mean to beat a dead horse here, Lemons, but Yanfeng, he goes in, but I didn't see him pick up any souls there, and that's kind of a big deal. Like, we are now getting towards 14 minutes, and plates are going to be falling in just a few seconds here, and he's gone 8 ganks worth of souls.
Yeah, it's a bit of a rough time, and it's always like worst situation as Kane, because you just feel like you aren't getting the one thing that's really going to propel you above. Yes, you're doing fine on farm. You're doing great. Why not? But you're missing a huge portion of his kit, and as we had mentioned earlier, it just is an integral part to it. And so I am looking for Yanfeng to try and get that transformation going here pretty quickly. But on the other side of things, 2-0 lead in kills, you have 1-to-1 objectives for the dragon here, and you're in a decent gold lead for where you're at in the game. It is still very, very even, but I feel like it is going to be a bit of a volatile game state going here after 15 minutes.
Yeah, because, I mean, we mentioned it already, but Halal and Hades, they can get to be real big, beefy boys. Even if Yanfeng is heavily delayed on that transformation, I mean, if you can't kill Halal and Hades, like, does it matter if Yanfeng really is delayed on his transformation?
Right.
But of course, on the other end, I mean, we're starting to see a little bit of snowballing here in the bot lane, thanks to that one kill picked up by Boomer. And this tie in objectives, well, the Dragons at least, the Riptail did go over to Anonymous Esports, but I mean, this is going to be very volatile because whichever team gets the Cloud Soul, that's going to be pretty huge because we have a lot of big ticket ultimates here on the table, Lemons, that would really enjoy that cooldown reduction.
They would indeed, and I know it's not a popular opinion, but I actually really like the Cloud Soul. A lot of the times it's because I play champions that like to go fast and like to have a lot of cooldowns, so that might have something to do with it, but I like it. I think it adds a little bit of extra gameplay, although everything I've seen is like, take it out of the game, replace it with something else. And it makes me a little sad.
Dare say that blasphemy? I've always been a fan of the Cloud Soul, even when they initially released it and it was only 10 out of combat move speed. I tried it
Yeah.
because it let me get back to lane faster.
Yeah, we're gonna see
Oh, man.
Fluoride take a bit of a trade here in the top lane as well. He's still been pressing that aggressiveness for the entirety of this first 16 minutes of the game, and it hasn't ended up in big dividends, but to an extent it kind of has, because that means you can focus a little bit more on the rest of the map, and especially the objectives that can be oh so crucial, as we do get to see Zach taking that Rift Herald for himself.
Yeah, and Halal, he has to be careful on this orange. Sure, you're tanky, but 20% of your health as a true damage execute, it can be a lot of damage, and you're kind of bordering on that, like 35 to 40% right now. A little
Oh
fishy.
no.
Oof.
The back doesn't go through. Scorched Blaze is going to have to slingshot out of there, as Hades was just giving him a bit of a reminder that he's still in this game.
You want to know how to tell if someone is a support player, either secondary or formerly? They go to great lengths to cancel a recall limit. Like, that is a bot lane trait. They're like, nothing tilts an enemy more than just canceling their back when they're like, oh yeah, I'm going back, I have the shop open. Then you cancel it, like, you don't even kill them, like, you just cancel, and they're like, now I have to spend 5 seconds running from you and another 8 recalling.
Just feels so bad. We are going to see some pings going down towards the dragon here for the side of Anonymous, but there is a big conjunction of players down towards this pit. Now Shades is going to go in with the Chains of Corruption, though, as he takes the first tower. Now the fight's going to ensue, though. That's the Heroic Entrance coming down onto the Janna, but Let's Bounce gets popped, and they might be in a bit of trouble here, as now it's going to be Snickers being taken down, but a beautiful re-engage from Yanfeng with the TP coming in on the backside. They've got horns aplenty here, as the Fear Beyond Death goes through onto Hades. He's going to be able to try and take down Yanfeng. Meanwhile, Talal trying to take everybody down by himself, but he just can't do it with the help of Shades, who is trying to do as much poke as he can this entire time, but it is actually just going to be Halal getting death sentence out, a triple kill going over to Fluoride, and everything is going in favor of Connecticut.
And that is just absolute devastation here coming out from Yukon. That's going to also give him the Cloud Dragon here too. And it started off well for Anonymous Esports, like committing for that first tower, sure, but then we pan over, we see Stickers MV caught out in the jungle.
Ooh, TP. It's going to be
I don't
Galio.
think you want this, buddy.
He's going to go for it. He isn't going to be able to pick up the dragon, but you've got teamwork here as everybody has arrived, and now a bit of an overextension coming through from Connecticut is going to end up with 2 of their members dead. Huge shockwave is going to get flashed out of. Here comes the Zac on the backside of it to try and get some extra damage in, as now it's just going to be this 2v4 now, as Yanfeng has finally arrived, and they're going to get caught over the wall here. Bug's got to be real careful, as he's going to be taking down Yanfeng, able to pick up one for himself. They got the dragon as well, and were able to get out with it.
So all in all, that was 4 kills for 5, a first tower and a dragon, and I kind of don't know who came out on top of that, Lemons, although my mind might be swayed a little more towards Anonymous Esports if they're able to get this mid tower.
I think so too, if you can get a little bit extra off the back of that. But good play coming out from Anonymous there to take advantage of the overextended dragon from Connecticut. Connecticut were still able to pull that out, but at least you even up and actually take over the gold lead with that. And now you have to defend against this Rift Herald, because you more than likely are going to lose this outer tower.
Yeah, more than likely, especially with all these members.
Though, they're going in for it. They want to defend it with everything they've got, as now it is all the way down, and now the Let's Bounce comes out as well. Huge damage going through. That is going to also be the Monsoon that was used by Snickers MVP. That Rift Herald got a lot of damage off in the mid lane.
Yeah, and also getting a kill. Oh! Fear Beyond Death gonna be a whiff Beyond Death, and here comes the counter horn.
You can't miss the counter horn right there as the big engage goes through, but here is Kiss Me Slow coming to help out, and Halal goes down. Fluoride on a rampage now, and they're looking to take this top tower.
Yeah, Fluoride just popping off on this Urgot and showing why Conqueror is so strong right now as a rune. Not to mention, I mean, Halal, he kind of double dipped a little. Sure, he got that Bramble Vest first, but he went into that Abyssal Mask and now is working towards that Sunfire. So Halal, he is going to technically be behind in itemization, especially now since, 4 kills to 1. I mean, that kind of usually makes a big diff. And Fluoride's going for the Death Stance next to, which is just so disgusting when you combine it with that Conqueror.
It is, and starting to get some flashbacks to other Urgot performances here. 4-0 is feeling so good on that champion. It only gets better, especially with that execute. As the other thing is, you got to deal with the scaling that has been picked up here, especially looking at that Vigar, who has just been farming away on the bot side, trying to get those stacks up. And when you look across the board for the side of Anonymous, you're looking at Shades on this Varus. You're looking at Hades, who has actually done a good job of doing a good amount of damage for his team in these big team fights. But it's really Shades who's going to have to be the bulk of this team's damage.
Yeah, and I mean, he certainly is set up to do that. 104, 192 CS. Not to mention, I mean, look at his build right now, Lemons. He went Blade the Rune King, but instead of going Ginsu's, he made the smart call. Let's pick up that Wit's End. It gives you 50 magic resist, and that's going to do a hell of a lot against a Vigar and Orianna. But just to be sure, he also grabs the Merc Treads too, since bars, you can technically skip out on the Berserker's Greaves. I've experimented with myself. You very easily just go over a ludicrous cap once you're past procs with just like 1 or 2 attack speed items. So, and then of course, another important thing to point out is that if you do have Merc Treads, it does make Vigar's combo significantly harder, since a lot of his combo relies on you being stunned long enough by that cage.
Well, like the exact timing is always something that's super important for the Vigar, because if you don't time everything right, then everything just comes down randomly. Meanwhile, Shockwave comes down, as we're going to see them get knocked up together, but Beautiful Monsoon is going to get them out of there just for the pushback, a little bit of healing, but it is getting a bit worrisome to see some of these engages go off without any punishment, really.
Yeah, I mean, props to Snickers MVP, though. He was really quick on that Howling Gale trigger there, and that was kind of key stopping that Elastic Slingshot. I think they still would have made it out alive, but I think they would have lost an extra summoner or two there. Hello?
Oh, that was it's a very weird interaction. Because he went, Urgot's body went through Ord, even though the combination shouldn't work like that. But hey, you got to do with what you got, and it is definitely Fluoride pushing his advantage in this top lane. And since TP is up for Law, we're gonna have to see if he's gonna use it here. Or he's just gonna try to walk back to lane, because if he does walk back, that's gonna be a dead tower. Meanwhile, Yetfang gonna be caught out here as the heroic entrance gonna come in to save a bit of time. TP is coming across the board though, as both of them finally come down, but it's gonna be the Zac who joins. Ornhorn comes through. Is it gonna be knocked up? No, it is not, and the fight is gonna continue onwards here. Hades gonna be ran down. They don't even care about Halal. Leave him in the background, because he will go down last, as they take the fight cleanly here and are able to get away with everything, as Boomer is gonna pick up another kill for himself, and as Vigar is feeling real good as they go for the Cloud Drake.
And Yang Feng just absolutely caught out there. I was about to say, oh my god, he finally got that Ross. Like, he can go off huge in this game, but if you get caught out like that, I mean, buddy, you're not going to live that as a Ross. Like, maybe if that was Halal, maybe if that was Hades, they would have made it out, but not Yan Feng. And that's 3 kills. That's now sole point here for Yukon. With that double Cloud Dragon, that's going to be very annoying to deal with when you look at the other side. I mean, you have, of course, the Fear Beyond Death, the Let's Bounce, Shockwave, Pure Skill, and, of course, the Cage.
So I'm just going to go down some cooldowns here for y'all. Fear Beyond Death is 47 seconds, which is ridiculous. The Shockwave is 41.8 seconds, which is even more ridiculous. And then you think about the Vigar ulti, the keystone to every piece of exploding power he has is 52 seconds as well. And they still have one more Cloud Drake to go for. And that just is so unbelievably scary to go up against, especially when, yes, you have some really great ultimates. You have a lot of defensive ultis and a lot of things that you're going to have to use a bit reactively. And so it makes it to where it's going to be a little bit harder to pull off, at least.
Yeah, and we do have some very aggressive posturing around this Baron. I don't think we're going to see it be taken here by Yukon, since they don't exactly have the comp to shred through it. The only person who can really do it in any sort of speed is Fluoride, because Bug, Boomer, they aren't exactly going to be DPS monsters against objectives. Ooh, good Tornado. Gonna pick up Kiss Me Slow, because let's be honest, Lemons, if that hook landed, I think there would have been a lot of pain waiting around that corner.
I completely agree, my friend. As as we saw, the pain train had arrived at Yang Feng's doorstep last time around as he got caught out. hopefully not again, as death sentence is a death sentence indeed. But the thing is here is you do have ornhorn items, or orn items, ornaments coming up here pretty soon as well. So it's going to provide that extra bit of
Well,
gold.
here's Hades.
He's coming in the mid lane. Todd's going to connect. Is he going to be able to hit the lantern? He gets in the last second, but guess who comes along with them? It's Yanfeng picking up the kill. Now he's going to be in the back line of the enemy. Meanwhile, we can see the 1v1 here where Halal is just going to get eaten up by the Crab Lord. And now the fight continues over behind the Baron Pit as a huge shutdown goes onto the Zac here. And Bug is going to have to be real careful. Beautiful lantern. Yet again, that's two of them being able to help out. But unfortunately, last time around, Yanfeng had the outer play.
Yeah, and Hades with that beautiful flank here for Anonymous Esports. Yanfeng fancy? No? All right. Back on subject, though. Beautiful flank by Hades, though. Just capturing out Boomer on that Vargar, telling his team, hey, let's jump this man. As their team did certainly jump them. 2 for 1 in the favor. Take that 3 for 1.
It is not going down slow this time. He is bursted down. And Fear Beyond Death is now coming up, but no longer are there some low members to be had. And unfortunately, it is going to be Thresh going down right near the tower here.
Yeah, and Fluoride, for how fed he is, 6-0-3, he has half his team's kills, but I mean, just move back a minute to that team fight here, Lemons, and Fluoride was 1 versus 1ing Halal. Like, he wasn't there. He's the majority of his team's gold, and he wasn't there helping out his team, especially after Boomer got caught. That was just an instant death sentence for their team fight there. And now imagine if that Urgot was there. Imagine if that Urgot had got that Fear Beyond Death off and feared 1, 2, maybe even 3 members of the enemy team. I feel like that team fight might have even gone in the favor of Yukon there, but hindsight is 2020, and this is the current timeline we're stuck in.
We're in this timeline for sure, and I am ready to see how it all pans out here as everybody's starting to come in their own just a bit. I would like to see a bit more team play coming through from Fluoride with everyone else attached, as that flay is going to go a bit wide. Here comes the TP and the Ornhorn. They're ready to go. Everybody coming in. The knockup is going to land on Fluoride, the one member you do want to get down, as he's going to get melted through here. Shutdown going over to Shades, and now Kiss Me Slow is on the wrong end of this fight.
Oh, and that is just how you spell tragedy here, Lemons. Like, the play being set up there, 3 versus 1, you're like, yes, I love this. Then all of a sudden, the Goon Squad comes in, and you lose 2 of your members, including that shutdown on Fluoride. That was 900 gold total in the pocket of Shades.
Chains going out, not going to land onto Boomer there, but it is going to be a taunt landing on a Scorcher, and now the rest of the team is here, and this is all they've been doing. They're just running around as a team and just using their stun lock to secure kills for Shades, and that's the PowerPoint we were talking about, the big thing that they need to at least propel up, and so far it's working out for them.
Yeah, and this Earth Dragon they picked up earlier for Anonymous Esports is going to be doing so much for them this game. Like, just that extra... Oh, the flash!
Flash forward using the old combo, but in a new way, as Bug is going to get out by another crucial lantern. And I have to say, even though Kiss Me Slow got caught out last time around, these lanterns have been so clutch.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason he got caught out there was because he couldn't grab his own lantern to go to safety. Let's be honest, Lemons.
Very true, very true. If only that was a thing.
Yeah, I mean, either way, though, I mean, one thing I do want to bring us back to is that at the start of that fight in the mid lane, when Shades got caught out by that Vygar cage, he ate 2 abilities, the W and the Q. It took off 20% of his health. He has 126 magic resist right now in this Varus, and that's not looking too good here for Yukon. If that half combo does only that much to the 80 carry of all people, now imagine trying to kill Hades, Yanfeng, or Halal in a team fight with this Orianna and Vygar.
It's going to be a very tough task, but at some point you got to think the Vygar does get to turn on those jets that we all know and love, but is it going to be enough at least to go over this composition that later parts of the game is starting to feel real nice. In the beginning of the game, it was a bit rocky and seemed a bit unsure, but now that they're all being able to run together, being able to use this teamwork and these call-outs, the team fights have just been going their way every time, and that's something really, really positive to see going into this series.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, like, this is a series in general here, Lemons. Like, there is always going to be a game 2, maybe even a game 3, so we'll have to see. But even with saying that, I mean, I feel like we're looking to the future a little too soon here, because it's not much going to bring these two teams. That's a slingshot in, but a tornado. Oh, flash!
Big shockwave going to land on the Shades, though. Heroic Entrance going to come down, but not going to go through all the way, as now the TP is in the backside of it. Ornhorn comes down. Is he going to be able to get a good knock up here? Only gets one member, but it's on the Fluoride here. Splash comes over the wall as well. Hates, but it's Fluoride in the back line taking down Shades, and he doesn't even care. He's still alive. Let's Bounce goes through, creating chaos in the back line, and now the Kane finally is able to use a little bit of his kit, but it is a bit too late, as Kiss Me Slow is going to catch out Hades, and he's going to bring a member with him. Maybe. I guess nobody's going to take that Lantern. They just want to go straight for the Baron here.
And the AoE just piled on there from Yukon, and once Shades fell, I mean, this entire anonymous composition fell. Like, they just did not have the damage to realistically get through. Like, all they really had was Yanfeng, and I'm be honest, with his current state, just the Warrior Enchantment, just the Cleaver, and a Executioners, that's not enough to carry a team fight, and it looks like this big opening in the game is going to pay off here for Yukon, as they are going to pick up this Baron after that team fight win. Still, with that all being said, though, I mean, still decently close game. Only 3,500 actually separating these two teams, and that's 32.5 minutes into this game. That is not an insurmountable amount.
It definitely isn't, and I love the teamwork coming out there. They waited for Boomer to get back alive and to get the Baron buff. So now they have 5 Baron buffs and available to them. Have to see how they use that, though, as Dragon is going to be coming up in about 1 minute and 30 seconds, meaning we could see the Soul go over, or we could be a bit prolonged in that aspect. And I know which one Anonymous wants, and definitely which one they're looking at.
Yeah, and both these teams are going to be eyeing that up. But one thing I'm eyeing up here, Lemons, is the ornaments. They're starting to come in. We have that upgraded Black Glaive, but we have that upgraded Blade King, and Sergeant Hayes, I feel like he's going to get an upgraded Abyssal Mask pretty soon here, and all those extra stats, especially that upgraded Abyssal Mask, that is going to be very hard for this enemy composition to deal with here for Yukon. But
Can we talk about something real quick?
No.
Yeah, we're here to talk, so we're going to have to. Zeke's convergence on the Urgot.
Wait, what?
That's exactly the response I was expecting from you. I love it. As we're going to see Yanfeng, we're not going to get to talk about it now, but Ornhorn comes down to provide a bit of support to Yanfeng. The double knockups are there. Heroic Entrance coming out as well, as knockups are all day, but it's no damage behind it now, as Let's Bounce comes out. Some weird interactions as well, but it's actually going to be huge damage coming down. Kiss Me Slow is getting very low. Shades is just free firing in the back line here, as the GA is going to be finally popped on Fluoride, and the fight goes in favor of Anonymous.
And Yukon, they see a pick, they go for it. But this isn't like that first Dragon fight we saw here, Lemons. Like, Yanfeng is a significantly different champion now. He's able to survive all of that. Has the Heroic Entrance come down, is able to wiggle on out, and that's the difference between focusing on Yanfeng and focusing on Shades in a team fight here. Because that last huge team fight win we saw for Yukon, they took out Shades pretty early. What happened this time around, Lemons? Nobody was on Shades. Like, no one.
What was crazy to me is, like, every knockup, every CC was used way before the fight was decided. Like, everything from the side of Anonymous was already used when the counter engage came through from Connecticut, but they still weren't able to target Shades, and he was just sitting there just firing those arrows away like Legolas we know. And it's just so crucial that you can get Fluoride onto Shades, because that's the only way you're going to get forward in this, because you cannot fight front to back, as we've seen.
Yeah, and I mean, it's only gonna get worse here. Yanfeng, he just completed the Spirit Visage, and look over the side of Yukon here. There's one anti-healing item. Nope, never mind, scratch that. There was an Executioner's in Fluoride's pockets, but that's been sold, so it's all up to that singular Bramble Vest on Scorcher Blaze. No Morello's coming out from either Bug or Boomer, and that is one huge flaw with this double AP composition. You can't just easy peasy tell your ADC, hey, buy Executioners and be done with it. No, you're just kind of stuck with an Ignite and a Bramble Vest, and you aren't going to have an Ignite every fight, and Yanfeng might not just have the oh, sorry, I lost my train train of thought there. I almost said train of track.
Do you have any thoughts on the Zeke's convergence for Fluoride? Do you have anything that just comes up?
Sumi, the frick ma sen is this?
I'm
sorry, but I've just never seen this before. Like, because it's a hardcore support item. Like, you put it, you bind it to your AD carry, but it's a double Zeke's comp right now for the side of Yukon, and I'm actually kind of wondering because it's like Zeke's, it burns enemies when you do auto attacks on them, but who are you binding it to that's popping all these basic attacks? Like maybe Fluoride, but Fluoride can't bind himself. So
to see how it kind of works out there, as it is 3-3 on the Dragons here, and another one coming up in about 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Definitely going to see a big fireworks show over that one. But until then, we have a bit of a period of pause for these teams and a bit of farming going on as well. And don't expect a lot of action until those objectives come up, but I do expect once they do, there's going to be a lot to be had.
Thing is, by the time those objectives come up, it might just be the end game scenario here for Anonymous Esports, because I just hovered over the upgraded Abyssal Mask into the Infernal Mask. It gives 100 magic resist and 750 health. Like, Sergeant Hayes is sitting on 216 MR. Halal is sitting on 193. Shades, 180. And Yanfeng is sitting on 136. Like, how are you going to get through all that magic resist here for Bug, for Boomer? Like, at this point, I feel like they're just kind of utility bots.
Yeah, it feels like at least Shades is leaning heavily towards preparing for the Orianna and the Vigar, thinking that his team is going to be able to block Fluoride from getting to him. And we did see it last time work out for him. We also saw it not work out for them, as Fluoride was able to get straight onto Shades. So I think that's the big thing you're going to have to look at in these fights, is positioning of Shades and how he's entering the fight and who is going to be around him.
Yeah, and I think in an ideal team fight here, Shades, he's just gonna kind of chill and not do anything for a bit. Like, you have Hades, you have Yanfeng, you have Halal. Let them eat up all those initial cooldowns, then you can go to town. Yanfeng has to be careful here as he gets locked up in the stun. Gonna eat a decent chunk of damage, but of course this is a Rost.
It is a Rost, but a quarter health is still no joke as he gets taken down just a bit. Meanwhile, you're gonna see the continuation of the 1v1s on the bot side. Split pushing galore for Fluoride, as TPs are available for both of them. And with the Dragon, as I had aforementioned, coming up, I'm sure those TPs are going to be very useful. But you do get to see a bit of prior positioning here, and it is going to be Connecticut who get in there and get a bit of vision. But they are going to lax just a bit right before it comes through. And so this is where I would expect at least Anonymous to try and get some wards in there.
Yanfeng.
Oh no, he knew he was there. He's standing right on a ward. Has a bit of trouble there, but he gets out of there without any hassle.
Yeah, and both these teams, I think, wisely prioritizing trying to get the soul buff here, because the soul buff is just so powerful. Like, you can't give it up for free. Oh,
You just
Yanfeng
can't.
Get a little cheeky knock up there, as everybody is definitely tense, and I think we're going to see a team fight break out here any second. Of course, though, Caster Curse does exist.
Flash forward is going to land the death sentence there, but the cleanse comes out immediately, but the fight continues. Huge shockwave in the middle, but a nice knockup from this Ornhorn. Huge CC across the board, but who is it still? It's Shades doing so much damage in the back line. Nobody even worrying about him as he's going forward now. The fight is going in favor of Anonymous, but this could still turn around. Flash forward from Yanfeng is not going to pick anybody up, but it still goes 1-2 in favor of an Anonymous Esports.
Yeah, and we've just seen it's now past the point of no return. They tried one last hurrah there, and even with that beautiful hook onto Shades at the start of the fight, he had the cleanse, immediate flash out, and it's just downhill from here. Kiss Me Slow gonna come around. I don't think Halal dies here, though. I mean, I don't think
He's actually turning it around a bit. As now might be a little bit of trouble there, but they do have this Cloud Soul available to them. The cooldowns are all the way down, 44 seconds on the Chain of Corruption, which is just nuts to me, as well as 33 seconds on the Umbral Trespass. So literally every engagement, Yanfeng can just use his ultimate if he wants, and you have those ornaments stacking up, which gives you that extra gold. You're already in the gold lead here, so you're sitting pretty for Anonymous.
Yeah, and you have to keep in mind that they have the outscaling advantage here. They're basically hitting full builds. Shades finishing off that last item. Shades, he's even picking up a mage eyes here, Lemons. Like, this man knows he's not going to be dying in team fights anytime soon. And, I mean, why would he? He's just so tanky at this point on the Gallia. Once he procs that Aftershock, I mean, how do you get through him? Like, you just don't.
I just love these fights so much because it's literally all the fireworks happen and nobody dies, and then it's afterwards that everybody starts falling. It's like everything gets used, all the explosions. Michael Bay is there 100%, and then afterwards it's okay, who's there to clean it up after? And Shades has been there every time.
And speaking of explosions in every fight, we've consistently seen Shitbug go in and use the Shockwave himself there. Like, have the Zac transportation device there. Like, why not put it on him and go in? But I don't know. It's just baffling to me that Bug doesn't use that. Granted, I mean, a little too late at this point in the game. I don't think a 5-man Shockwave is really going to win you the game here, especially through all this tankiness. But hey, I mean, it's kind of... I'm kind of wondering if there's maybe like a little bit of miscommunication here.
Could possibly be that, and it's still so crazy to me because you see these scaling options here as we're going to see the Warnhorn come down. They just want to continue pressing their advantages here as the stuns are going to go down onto Fluoride. And now you're going to see Kispy still trying to get on the back line, but he gets knocked back immediately by the Monsoon. He's all by himself. The miscommunication is ringing clearly here as a huge Shockwave is going to be able to get a return kill onto Snickers, but the knockups are still available here as Halal's taking so much damage. Miscommunication on both sides, but he survives even, as now the fight is going to continue under the tower. The tower finally falls. Bloblets are popping everywhere. Heroic entrance as well coming through. Yanfeng is coming up big for his team in the end of this, and they're TPing in. They're looking to end and take game number 1 here as they are pushing with the Baroned up minions.
Yeah, and what was a dead even game all along finally collapses as the scaling comes in against this double AP composition. That's not going to be all, as Boomer going to drop once more here, and we are finally going to reach a conclusion to this game. 43.5 minutes in. There were 7 dragons taken this game, 2 Barons and 2 Rift-Tail Lemons, and that was quite a marathon.
Game to start us off in this series. I couldn't ask for a better one, as we got to see both teams go head-to-head for that long 43-minute game. I got to see 7 dragons. That's always a plus. And it just all came down to the execution in the team fights in the end. And who came out on top? It was Shades and the gang for Anonymous Esports, as they were able to push their advantage at the end with that Baron buff and just kind of cleanly finish out the game. 10-1 and 11 on the Varus.
Yeah, like, I'm gonna be honest though, I do think UConn, they have to look a little bit at their draft tier, Lemons. Like, you have to just kind of look at it right here and go, you guys kind of have to win before 30 minutes or you just lose. And 43.5 minutes, they kind of lost. So I don't know. They got to do something different next game in terms of draft, I feel.
I agree. I don't think that it's necessarily bad to pick yourself a late game scaling option like the Vygar, but to pair it up with the Orianna in the mid lane, just felt like you weren't giving yourself the right step forward. And neither of them really came to fruition. We didn't get to that ultimate scaling for the Vygar or anything like that, even though we were far into the game. It just never felt like that because the tankiness, the front line coming out from Anonymous was way too strong.
Yeah, but I think with that being said, though, we are going to have to cut to a quick break here on the desks, though, as we will be back very soon with game number 2, so don't go anywhere.
are back, ladies and gentlemen, and we are here with the Upsurge Minor League Week 2 matchup between Anonymous Esports Rose Quartz, and University of Connecticut B. We got to see Anonymous Esports take game number 1 pretty convincingly towards the end there in those team fights. Get a little bit of your thoughts on that game 1 here. Go Farino.
Yeah, it was just a matter of time before Anonymous won that game. Like, UConn, they were on a ticking timer there, and they had to end the game quick, but they just weren't able to. And even with some slight early lead, it wasn't enough to take over the game and win it. So we'll have to see this time around, because there is always, of course, a new game and a new draft.
Drafts are always fun, and the evolution of games in a series, especially a best of 3, is always so interesting to me on how they want to go and adapt. And I am looking for a lot of adaptation coming through here from University of Connecticut B, because their game 1, it did start off very strong, but it just kind of sputtered towards the end there and just wasn't what they were looking for.
Yep. With that being said, though, we are going to be hopping back into the draft here, as Zoe immediately taken off the table once again by UConn, and no real surprise there, as all the bands seem to be fairly familiar here. A little bit of deja vu.
I was just about to say, getting some deja vu here, as we got to see the Tryndamere taking off the Nocturne as well on the red side, and Wukong is the last band there for Anonymous. And on the other side, you had mentioned the Zoe, we had the Graves and the Set taken away here, and waiting on this first pick from UConn, see what they want to set themselves up with.
Yeah, I mean, the world is their oyster at this point. There are a lot of power picks on the board. It is going to be that tried and true Trundle, so that is definitely safe, although you usually want to pick it a little more into the draft because you want it to be a bit more of a counter.
I have to say, this has been such a pet peeve of mine recently, at least in amateur, is like, I see so many teams picking Trundle first, and I get it. He's strong, but he's a very reactive pick, and I feel like you need to save it for later in the draft. But we get the response of the jungle here immediately, as it's going to be the Kindred locked in for the side of Anonymous, as well as that Varus.
Yeah, and Kindred, I mean, I have been seeing her pop up a little more recently. Mind you, she has been popping up a ton. It's been much more of a fringe pick, but it's still a pick, and I'm wondering if maybe Kindred has a very good matchup into Trundle, because you are able to hop around him quite a bit. The slow is very devastating. Not to mention, I mean, you do always have the utility that, well, it doesn't matter a ton against Trundle, since Trundle isn't exactly the biggest burst champion, so not the biggest worry there. But, I mean, a well-placed Lamb's Respite that can deny this Darius's reset potential here that was just locked in for UConn.
We're getting some spicy picks here, Go Farino. We got to see that Darius locked in, which I haven't gotten to see actually play a game in a while. Lulu was the pickup after that. Now we get to see the Quinn coming through.
Just when we were talking about spicier lemons, a triple marksman comp coming out from Anonymous Esports. Although the Quinn, let me tell you from experience, when I get put top, I play Quinn. When I play Quinn against Darius, I think yes.
I mean, it just seems like you're selling yourself on this, like, I need to block you phase. Like, come on, Go Frida. You can't be doing this to people on a daily basis.
Hey, if I get put top, I want to play an 80 carry. If I get put against a Darius player, I want them to suffer. Because they make other players suffer, I am merely returning the favor. Think of me as a karma.
Ah, yes. I completely agree. No, not at all. Of course, you're your own entity. As we are getting through the second phase of bans here, we got to see the Kog'Maw taking off the red side. Zed is the hover here. Be a bit of an interesting ban, as Vel'Koz was taken off for the side of UConn B. So they were definitely looking at that mid lane pool just a bit more and trying to get that whittled down just a bit.
Yeah, and
it is
a lot of similar bans here, although taking off the Kog'Maw, pretty smart once you see that Lulu on the board.
I think it's a great choice there to at least stop that power pick. We've all seen how many times it can just cause so much frustration in the bot lane with the safety there. Janna banned away here from UConn. Just a little bit of a highlight to game number 1, I guess.
Yeah, which is interesting. I don't feel like the Janna was a superpower pick. It might just be more of a, hey, we want to take you off of comfort there. But I
Yeah.
mean, if we're talking about comfort here, this bar that's being hovered, that is Snickers MVP's most played champion by a long shot here.
I'm really excited to see that come out. Bard going to be the pickup there finally coming through. And so more than likely it's going to be the Bard Varus bot lane, which can be a very lethal bot lane as well, but also can be very safe to an extent with Bard being able to help out a lot. But against the Lulu, I'm very interested to see what they're going to pick here as that combo to combat this Varus Bard lane.
Yeah, as it is going to be a very annoying lane to deal with, especially if that is a lethality Varus. Although Ezreal certainly can navigate around a lot of it. Granted, though, Lulu Ezreal not exactly the best combo because Lulu pairs much better with those hyper scaling AD carries that aren't too mobile and really appreciate the shields, the giant health boost, the move speed. Whereas Ezreal, he doesn't really need that peel. He doesn't scale as well. He doesn't make as much use of the on hit. I mean, still though, it is going to work out here in this bot lane as Azir going to be the final piece of this Yukon B puzzle.
Yeah, obviously we're looking at this, we're seeing that they're not going to put a whole lot of priority on the bot side, and it's mostly going to be looking at the top and mid with these carries, as Darius can be so strong, but Azir is always that beneficial hyper carry towards the end of the game that can get you those objectives. And guess what comes through last here? They're going Brawn against Brawn, maybe it's Brains against Brains, as we're going to see Xerath, the last pick.
Yeah, and Xerath is a pick for sure, because, I mean...
It's a pick.
How often do you see Xerath outside of ARAM? Like, let's be honest here. Like, and,
But the few
not-
times that I have seen it is very scary.
yeah, like, I feel like as a counter pick, it can work, and especially in certain comps. But with this, composition we see here for Anonymous Esports, I mean, they have no front line. Like, they just don't have anything here, and I feel like they're going to be trying to win through the split push with this Quinn, because you look at the rest of the team, they can, of course, peel and wave clear fairly well between Xerath, between Varus, and of course, you do have the Chain of Corruption, you have the Bard ultimate, you do have Kindred, of course, with the Lamb's Respite, so I'm thinking that might be the game plan here this time around for Anonymous Esports.
Game plan could be possible in that direction, as the big selling points here for me for each side is definitely a bit different. I, again, as I already said, am looking at this Azir and Darius. The Trundle first pick, honestly, definitely set the tone for this draft, where you see there's really no tankiness on the side of Anonymous. And maybe that is their plan, that is their ploy, that was the whole strategy behind picking Trundle first pick, because you don't get those tanky bodies. And the major factor in last game was the tanky bodies sitting in front of the Varus. So maybe that is their plan here, and it can work out for them if they can at least mechanically outplay it.
Yeah, but look at the side of Yukon here. If we do see the split push game plan come out here from Anonymous Esports, I mean, what do you use from Yukon B to really engage? Like, you have Darius Trundle as your front line, and all they can do is, like, really try and run and power through. And outside that, I mean, you have the Shrema Shuffle, but that's about it. So Yukon B, they're gonna have to navigate fights here very wisely, Lemons, because you don't have the best ways of initiating it, and it might just be you running into the meat grinder.
I am more ready for this game, though, because you see a lot more damage options for the side of Yukon, where I think that was where they were very much lacking last time around. Although they had some of like the major carries in the Orianna and the Vigar, it never felt like they were able to get online and be as effective as they wanted to be. So at least this time you get to see a bit of difference and a more roundabout composition here, where you have the like mid-game scaling of the Ezreal, who is going to get a little bit stronger. You have Darius's strength all throughout the early game and going into the mid-game and even in the late game a bit. And then you have Azir to top it all off with everything coming together towards those big team fights. So I think this time they're definitely setting themselves up a lot better than game one.
For sure, yeah, because, I mean, game one was a little bit of a travesty when you have two threats that are just AP burst / utility mages into Ornn. Galio, I mean, that's not really gonna work out most of the time here. Let's be honest. But this time around, a little bit more diversity in their investments.
Investments are key, as anybody truly knows, as we're going to be locking in our compositions here in the actual draft this time. But I have to say, after the performance in mid lane from Hades and Bug, I want to see a bit more skirmishing going on early. And honestly, that could be said across the theme of this entire series, because early game, I get it. You don't want to play as crazy. You don't want to play as off-hinged, but you do need to have a bit of risk and things into your game. And I don't think we saw a lot of that in game one. Maybe the teams are feeling a little bit more comfortable this time around and going to be able to maybe extend themselves a little bit more. But I mean, for that first 15 minutes, we weren't getting really any craziness or any, not craziness, because that's not exactly what you want, but any progressiveness into these big objectives and things like that and trying to get around it. It just seemed like everything would come together at the last minute. We'd see a big fight and then they'd move on from there.
Yeah, like this time around, I do feel like the early game is probably going to be a pinch more exciting, especially looking at these lanes. Like, you want to get them snowballing here for both sides, but I feel like the mid game is going to drag on a little here because, I mean, once we see these two team comps, whoever gets ahead in laning phase, yada, 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 things are going to stall out a little as, I mean, neither team, I mean, UConn B, I've already mentioned it myself, they don't really have the best ways of initiating a fight. And then on the other side, Anonymous Esports, they don't really have the best ways of initiating a fight either, but they might not even want to really initiate fights to begin with, as there are a lot of potential ways this game can go.
And one of those potential ways is Kindred looking for those marks that she's always trying to get. And that is going to mean you're going to have to go up against this Trundle in his jungle, which is always a fun sentence to say. And that is where Trundle really gets his strong suits, where his skirmishing really comes to fruition. And if you do go that press the attack style that we have seen a lot recently, you can get a good amount of burst damage off early game. It's not the best, but against the Kindred, if you can go 1v1 against each other, I think Trundle is going to at least come out on top in a lot of those, depending on the mechanical play of Yanfeng on the Kindred. But I want to see Scorcher Blades try and get something going for himself on this Trundle early, because I feel like, to an extent, if you get a little bit far behind on Trundle, it's so hard to not just be a pillar, not just be this kind of extra meat body hanging around.
Yeah, although, I mean, Scorcher Blaze, he might have some troubles getting to Yanfeng on the Kindred, because especially after you put some points into that queue on the Kindred, once you put down your Wolf's Frenzy, you can just jump like a madman. Combine that with the E-Slow, it might be very hard for this Trundle to even reach this Kindred, even if he gets a good pillar, because you can just hop right out of it. And then, of course, even with a Frozen Domain move speed, you have to remember, you're eating up a fatty slow, and your enemy is constantly hopping about.
I think that part of it is going to be a big key. I also think Snickers MVP roaming around is going to be a very important part to this, because Bard loves to roam. You've got to get that going ahead for you. Varus, you can do okay in the lane while Bard farms, but that could be a point of contention there, and seeing how that all kind of works out. And that being said, I do have to say, go Freno. I've been having some issues as we're getting into this game, because a lot of my keys just aren't working on my keyboard. And I heard that, if I would have gone with this one company, I think they're called Kono Keyboard, it would have been a lot better. And if you're looking to take your game to the next level, it all starts with your peripherals, at least. From keyboards to keycaps, mice, and more, our friends at Kono have got you covered. Kono works with the world's best designers, inventors, and makers to bring you some of the best gaming peripherals around. As you know, I need to change mine. Kono have been huge supporters of us here at Upsurge and have made so many generous contributions to our prize pools. If you need to find a keyboard, if you need to find a new keyboard, check out the Hexgears X1 RGB low profile Bluetooth mechanical keyboard, as that's one I'm going to be searching for when I go look for mine a little bit later. You can use the discount code UpsurgeGG for 7% off your first order. For more information, go ahead and head over to konos.store to check out all they have, and that is KONO.store. Kono, discover amazing products. We are back and on to Summoner's Rift here for this all-pivotal game number 2. With Anonymous Esports having taken game number 1, they could close out this series with a win here. Or we could go to the all-wanted game number 3. We're going to see some spiciness here to add on to the picks.
And I mean, look at the top lane sums here. Oh, we might not have time for that as we do have this death squad coming through.
It is Astronaut Bard too, by the way. They got the ward. Play of the
I'm being
game.
honest, Astronaut Bard is really fitting for him. He looks a lot fatter than usual, but that is natural in a spacesuit. Like,
Weapon is like the size of his like upper body. I feel like it's a little bit different, I guess.
his weapon's the size of half a Quinn.
But no craziness gonna come out here. They wanted to try and get something going. They got a ward for it, but not gonna be able to pick up any early gold besides that one. And now we're more than likely just going to see a basic early game coming out.
Yeah, no surprises there. Although, I mean, look in the top line here. Florid, he's going Flash Ghost on this Darius with triple Rejuvenate. Halal, he's going Flash Ignite on this Quinn. Like, there is going to be blood in this top lane. Oh, wait, this ward spotting out this little invade. Let's see if Hayes is able to snoop it on up. Keep in mind, Yanfeng is stealing the blue on the other side of the map, so
they're going to get an opposite side. Oh, it doesn't go over. Scorcher Blaze able to pick up that one. Unfortunately, Hades was not able to have that quick maneuverability there to get that. But you do get to see, as you pointed out, Yanfeng starting up that blue on the opposite side. So trying to get a little bit back. And it's going to be a very, very big difference here, I think, in the pathing of the junglers.
yeah, because keep in mind, Scorched Blaze, he got the blue buff and then he dipped. But look at Yanfeng. He's taking the blue, he took the wolves, and he's taking the grumps. Like, this man's sending a message here to set the pace of the game on this Kindred. And, I mean, Scorched Blaze, he's going to be feeling a little sad on this jungle because he went the buff, and he's coming up to this top jungle, which is completely cleared out.
Like walking into an abandoned city or something. You just like walk in, you're like, okay, there's nothing there, there's nothing here. Oh my goodness, this is a waste of my time. As it's actually going to be Yanfeng that was looking for a gank in the mid lane, but not going to commit completely to that one. And it is Ping's coming towards the top lane though now.
Yeah, as I mean, Fluoride definitely a little vulnerable on the Darius because you don't exactly have the best mobility outside of the Flash. Granted, though, he is fairly pushed in, and Yanfeng would have to go in hard for this. It's not like he has too much to worry about right now. He can go pick up a camp in his jungle, then maybe look towards that scuttle that spawns in. It is kind of interesting to say that the tempo advantage is going over to Yanfeng on this Kindred right now, since, I mean, Kindred, kind of historically known for a very weak early game, especially before she gets a few of those passive stacks.
For sure, and the first one is going to be picked up here by Scorcher Blaze on that scuttle on the bot side, and we do get to see a bit of a character arc here for Shades, as he's going to pick up the Arcane Comet this time around and more than likely go that lethality build. So a bit different from game number 1, which I like to see. The variety, at least, coming through. And besides that, we're not going to see very much going on, although it's Halal who's heading down towards that scuttle in the river, going to pick up a little bit of extra gold for himself.
And speaking of, Yanfeng's going to meet up with Scorcher Blaze here.
Scorcher Blaze didn't really care too much. Flash comes out, though, as he dodges Snickers MVP. As now it's going to be Yanfeng looking to flash forward, get the kill on a bug. But Flash coming out from there, and First Blood ends up going over to Scorcher Blaze. As he's able to pick that one up. Flashes everywhere. As that's going to be Hades getting his burned as well.
And that is just such a huge tempo killer here for Anonymous Esports. Yanfeng, buddy, you're getting too thirsty here. There are people trapped in the Sahara and are less thirsty than you were for that kill, buddy. Like, come on, you got out the flash from Scorcher Blaze. Go back, take the small W. But instead, that's going to be First Blood going over to Scorcher Blaze on this Trundle, who's going to be very happy because keep in mind, he's had a rough start to the game considering he lost one of his buffs and his entire topside jungle.
It's a very rough time, and that's one of the little points we were kind of highlighting to in the draft was wanting to see Trundle get ahead and start using that presence on the map. You did pick first pick Trundle, and so far, you're one up on it, so feeling pretty good on that one, at least, as we still get to see a lot of the skirmishes going on in the mid and top lane, but nobody has fully committed to a big fight, like a life or death fight just yet. I'm sure that's going to change, but I'm thinking around that level 6 mark more than anything.
Yeah, because there's a lot of this map that opens up level 6. Once you have the Rite of the Arcane on Hades, once you have that Tempered Fate on Snickers, and once you have that Valor to me on Halal, that opens up a lot of the map, since you're able to traverse so much of the map or participate from so far away on the map.
Yeah, and we are going to see the dragon started up here by Scorcher Blaze. And don't believe there's going to be any contests coming out. As you can see, Yanfeng is across the map there. So that is going to be the first dragon, which is an ocean dragon, going over to Connecticut here.
Yep, and that is going to be pretty big for them if this is going to be a primarily poke-oriented game coming out from Anonymous Esports, because having that percentage missing health region, it helps a lot against poke. Thankfully, though, for Anonymous Esports, they're only going to have to deal with this one ocean, as we do see Scorcher Blaze hanging around the bottom. Yanfeng nowhere close to this bot lane, so we might see a 2 versus 3. Snickers, no.
I hate having this vision because it makes me so sad, as now Shades is going to get a pillar on top of him. It's slowed down, but there's a big minion wave there, and unfortunately you do still have an Ezreal who really can't fight through that, and so not going to be able to get anything out there, as flashes are still up for the bot laners here across the board, and another gank goes a bit wide.
Yeah, and I mean, that is one of the hard things about ganking a bard. Like, oh man, Snickers MVP, we have you surrounded on all sides, and Snickers is like, haha, tunnel.
Hey, here's another gank though. At least you keep trying, why not? As Hades is going to get dropped to about half health there. Nice poke back though, it's going to get him a good health trade. As I was just about to say, Scorcher Blaze just gonna like go back to top side now and see if he can get something going up there, but is gonna get stopped up by clearing that vision just about. As Rite of the Arcane actually comes out onto Bug and almost gets him, but able to use those quick feet to get out of there.
Yep, and that is gonna be a red buff steal coming out from Yanfeng, so a lot of heavy buff denial coming out of this Kindred. And for those of you wondering at home, Yanfeng is currently sitting on only 1 hunt completed, so needs 3 more before he hops up to that very sweet 575 auto range.
Well, and the issue, I guess, as the time goes on, is it is going to get a bit harder to get into the enemy side of the jungle and get some of those marks. So I think that now is the moment. Unfortunately, the timing of everything hasn't really gone Yanfeng's way to where he's not really on that side of the map or heading towards that side of the map at that moment, as you see the other hunt was in the top side of the map, but we see junglers focusing on opposite lanes here.
Yeah, do we see a dive here? Because we do have the Tempered Fate, and that can make tower dive so easy.
That's a lot of damage onto Shades, and Snickers is about half health. They just want to go for it. The tower plates. Oh my goodness! That arrow did so much to Kiss Me Slow.
That is a chunky Nando of an arrow there, if I ever seen in Lemons. Still, though, I mean, no real gank payoffs here for either of the junglers so far. The one kill this game was just because of a skirmish that started in the jungle. And speaking of in the jungle, Scorcher Blaze able to pick up yet another objective for his team.
Another objective going down. 2 minutes on another dragon. And unfortunately, my friend, we are not going to get the Ocean Soul or the Infernal Soul. We're going to be stuck with the Cloud Soul or Mountain Soul this time around, as now we get to see both these members going for the enemy red buff here. As I was wondering if Darius was going to try to get it or what was going to go on there, but now you see Yanfeng heading to that area, going to see that it is taken. And now the question is, where is Scorcher Blaze going to use this Rift Herald?
I don't know. There are a lot of places to take it. Yanfeng not going to be able to secure it with that Wolf's Frenzy, sadly. Either way, though, not a lot actually happening here. It's still only that 1 kill on the board.
Big roam coming through. Flash coming out from Boomer is going to use the prediction there, but big piercing arrow coming through as well from Shades. And I'm liking this, although the Varus did win. I'm liking this Varus a lot better because you see it kind of synergizes really, really well with this Bard.
Yeah, and the item differential right now between these two AD carries. You have a tier machine for Boomer. Only his Mystic shots are realistically going to be doing damage. Shades, though, on the other hand, he has that fully completed Umbral Glaive. And that is just such a power spike right now, having that early CDR, that early lethality, that early AD, and that early vision denial. It gives you a lot for one very tightly cheap purchase there.
It is great, and honestly, it makes me think, like, what are there going to be changes that come? Oh my goodness! Boomer has to start being real careful here, as those piercing arrows are going to be so crucial to the rest of this laning phase, and so far it's going a bit in favor of Shades here as he takes a big true shot barrage to the face, but is still leading a decent amount in farm here as the waves are going to continue to crash. Dragon coming up about 10 seconds. We do see some pings heading that way from the side of Anonymous, so we'll have to see if they want to prioritize that.
Yeah, because, I mean, Anonymous, Snickers, MVP, and Shades have been really on point with this bot lane vision control so far. Does certainly help that they have that Umbral Glaive, but still, the CS differential, the lane pushing differential, the vision differential, it's shaping up to be quite a bit in this bot lane as the Anonymous crew already hammering away on this Infernal Dragon that they are going to very much appreciate, considering everybody, even the Bard support's going to be building some offensive stats.
Yeah, for sure. You get that extra little bit of damage added to you, and it is going to be the Cloud Dragon yet again. So, oh my goodness, Go Farino. If we get another 7 dragons, the cooldowns are going to be even crazier, I think, than we saw last time. I remember seeing one game where Xerath's cooldown gets down to like 40 seconds or something on Ride of the Arcane, which is just nuts. And you have the Ezreal still there. Meanwhile, we're going to see a big engage going through. It's Tempered Fate used. Flash is the response here from Kiss Me Slow. He's going to go straight into the Kindred. The slow comes down. That's the passage going through as well, as it's going to be Kiss Me Slow has to go the other way, trying to run out. You're running away from home, though, as you can't run away from such a mobile composition. Trying to go in for the Shurima Shuffle was Bug, but not going to be able to connect anything there. He gets there just a bit too late.
And, oh, here comes a Trundle.
Yeah, Halal is looking to get a gank up here, or get ganked up here, and oh my goodness, that was so close to going off. Finally does. The second time is the charm. Halal goes down, and I'm sure the Rift Herald is going to be used in the top side since they have the availability now. Meanwhile, Yanfeng is going for another mark here, but has to be real careful. This Bug is right around the corner.
Yeah, that is a really unfortunate event there for a Kindred player. This is going to be a lot of damage in this top lane. Hades, you got to be careful here, as that is going to be all but one of these tower plates taken down. That is going to be the signal to get off, though, as all the minions and the Herald are gonzo.
That's almost half health on the Ezreal from one piercing arrow. No, I think that's how we should just measure the damage checks, like every couple minutes, just see how far it gets Ezreal down.
Yeah, because, I mean, one of the reasons why lethality Varus has just gotten so much more stronger recently is that people have found out if you go mana flow band and oh, hold that thought.
Big engage. Kiss Me Slow goes down again. Shades picking up that one, and Lulu is not having a good time in this game, and a lot of tower plates going over to the bot side. And we saw how beneficial it was to give gold over to this Varus, and he's starting to feel real good.
Yeah, but not to mention, I mean, giving gold over. Oh, there's the
Fate up again. It's gonna lock down Boomer. He goes down to Shades. 2 kills to the Varus and almost a 30 CS lead. Meanwhile, Halal has gotten the worst side of this matchup on the top side. Now he's gonna have to use his flash in response to Fluoride's flash. But tower goes down. First tower going over to Anonymous Esports.
Yeah, and that's pretty damn huge here, because they got those 2 kills in the bot lane. They got that dragon not too long ago. Is Halal gonna use the Bilgewater Cutlass in defense? Kiss Me Slow.
Again, Ride of the Arcane coming down. That's a big wild growth, but Yanfeng is gonna pick that one up, and that is 3 quick deaths for Kiss Me Slow, who honestly had a very good first game. And now we're about to see one go over. That's going to be a huge true shot barrage. The flash! Snickers MVP! You get the MVP for that one.
Oh my god.
My goodness. Get this man off the bar, and I don't even know anymore. Holy cow, that was crazy.
Put this man on a theoretical physics team and we'll get to quantum computing lickety split. Jesus, that was... That was
My
250 IQ, let's be honest.
For sure. Now, top lane tower did fall to Fluoride on the Darius, so he's able to pick up that extra spare gold that was lying there waiting as the reset did come through for Anonymous. And see them heading out onto the map. It does look like we're going to get a bit of a lane swap here from the bot side, where Varus and Bard are now keeping
Fluoride.
this turret up here, but they got to be real careful because you got to keep your eyes on the Darius, as he's going to get a nice amount of damage. Tempered Fate up yet again. What happens when they get more Cloud Drakes? Because that's just the setup every time, as Fluoride is going to get exploded. Shades just doing so much damage already, 15 minutes into the game here. And now on the bot side, Boomer is going to get pounced on by Valor, but not going to get any more done to him.
Yeah, thankfully though, Fluoride, I mean, he already has the Ninja Tab Eyes working towards that Thorn Mail, so once he gets those 2 big ticket armor items complete, he is going to be able to take a lot of punishment from this triple AD carry comp, but that's a little while out. Hello?
Gotta be real careful here. This is 2v1, and he does not have the slow here. Ooh, Wild Growth gonna be used. Heal coming through. Halal, what is this? Bard making plays across the map here. Flash forward, though. They're gonna get Halal into the corner here. Kiss Me Slow going through. Now the Red Arcane. The turnaround. Hades coming from the depths. Able to pick up the kill for his team. It is 7-2 now. And this is the most dominant performance in the early game we've seen in this series.
Yanfeng has to be careful here, though. Flashes out from Fluoride. Here comes the Shurima.
Gotta get out of there. There goes the piercing arrow as well. The re-engage from Halal, as Fluoride is going to be caught here. That's him going down. Shades is on a rampage. And if there's one theme that has kept in this entire series, it is that Shades is untouched in the background, firing away those arrows like a boss.
And that bot lane play was just 3,000 IQ, like, I swear. We're reaching new levels of just intelligence in this game alone. This game has done more for the human intelligence levels than the past 3,000 years of evolution. Still, though, 3 to 8 in kills, and there is a bit of a sizable gold lead starting to crop up. Not super sizable, mind you, but it is starting to show.
It is. And there is, the biggest thing for me right now is, yes, Anonymous are in the lead. You still have to think, they have the Darius, they have the Azir. Now, we are going to get to see the second Rift Herald used in the mid lane, and more than likely a Dragon going to be started up here as it looks like it's going to just be a distraction here for the Rift Herald because they want to commit onto this Dragon and pick up another one for themselves, but you still have 2 members looking to take down that tower. So now we're going to see the collapse here from both teams, and going to have to see if Connecticut can actually contest this Dragon, as Flora just walked straight in there. He doesn't even care.
Chain of Corruption.
It's going to spread everybody out. Boomer is going to be the target of that one, but he gets away without any scars just yet, as that's a big Tempered Fate yet again. Right of the Arcane coming down as well. The zoning is incredible, as now the Dragon is going to reset just a bit. They're in a bit of a split fight. That's a huge True Shot barrage raining across the team, though, as now the follow-up is not there. Fluoride tries to go in, but Shades is able to pick him off, and those piercing arrows are raining true, but the Dragon goes over to Connecticut.
Yeah, and Yanfeng just taking too much damage there from the Dragon and from Scorcher Blaze. Ultimately ends up losing his team, the Dragon, even though it's a 1-for-1. The objective going in the favor of Yukon here is a pretty big deal, speaking in terms of this game. But one thing I did want to point out that fight, though, here, Lemons, is Fluoride. I mean, this was kind of what I was worried about. Like, he is kind of just running into the meat grinder on this Darius. Like, we saw him try and go in, but he didn't have the ghost, so he's just kind of running straight in through all the slows, through all the stuns, through all the knockbacks, through the blinds. It's like, Fluoride, I don't know. Does he just go for the split push here, or does he go for team fights?
Well, I just think it's such a hard call, because to one end, you probably can deal with Halal. Halal is going to get to a point where he can do a good job against the Darius, though. But I think the biggest thing right now that I'm seeing that's lacking is a lot of the execution in the team fights. I think if Fluoride is there for the team fights and they can get a good engage and get on top of Shades, because literally that's the only thing you have to do at this point. Hades obviously is very strong, but man, Shades has been picking up the slack left and right in both of these games. And it just hasn't, there's been no answer to Shades just yet. once they do find that answer, maybe it is Fluoride just running straight in there and trying to get a hold of him, but you've got to find a way into it.
Yeah, and I mean, that's so hard.
Right of the arcane comes down yet again. Big one. Hades again going to be able to pick up another one for himself.
And that is the deadly combo of this Xerath Varus combo here. You eat up an arrow, you eat up a Q from the Xerath. That just kind of opens you up to the right of the arcane, and that's exactly what we saw happen there. As now, encroaching on this mid lane inner turret is Anonymous Esports. They're clearing out the vision. That's already half off the tower. And here comes Yanfeng.
Yanfeng is coming into the mid lane. Second tier tower is going to be taken down there. As now we're going to see the pings come towards the top side, which has the only outer tower remaining. And you can expect that Anonymous want to head that way and pick that up for themselves. I did want to do a quick check-in on the Kindred stacks. We were at 3 hunts completed, so just waiting on that last one for her. Going to be a bit difficult to find it, but once they do, you're going to have that extra range, that extra attack damage, everything nicely set up for yourself like that, as Fluoride almost got the grab on Halal. But that's going to be the back and forth we see over and over again.
Yeah, and the move speed for this Quinn and the move speed for the Darius is going to be so crucial here in this matchup, because that hook from Fluoride is absolutely massive for Halal. Tempered Fate!
Oh my goodness, yet again going to catch out Bug. And now the damage from the Varus is there. Wild Growth comes through, though. Shades has to flash out there. But on the backside, Halal has joined the fight. The speed from Valor able to get him there quickly. And now Ping's going down towards this top side, as they're actually pinging Baron now. And they're going to start it up. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, triple 80 carry, you kind of go through Barons pretty quickly. Fluoride's on the bot side. He doesn't have teleport. So it's only going to be Boomer and Scorcher coming in. There's the True Shot Barrage going to reveal this all out. But I think they're going to be too late here as this Baron goes down very quickly. Let's see what they're able to do here as the Mystic shots are coming in. But Magical Journey just going to yeet everyone over the wall. And one thing I do want to call out here, Lemons. Sticker's MVP on this Bard. Those Tempered Fates have been so huge this game. Like, he's gotten them so many picks this entire game with it. Like,
It's been crazy.
you gotta stop this, man.
You have to. I mean, you got to figure out a way to not get caught. And unfortunately, it's been crazy to me because it's been like some of the most mobile champions getting caught here. Especially looking at Bug.
Yeah. Granted, that was a very impeccable timing to stop.
Oh,
that
they've all been on point, I have to say, as some very, very well-timed Tempered Fates coming through. And a very short cooldown as well, about a minute, so not too bad. And obviously with the Cloud Drakes coming through, it's going to be a lot better. But we're still at a point where we only have 3 dragons taken completely. 4th one is coming up on the board in about 25 seconds, though.
Oh, look at Halal, though. He's on the base turret.
He is, and he's just hammering away there. They're going to try to take the 4v5 here, though, and it looks like it could be successful for them. Yanfeng's going to have to pop the Lance Respite. Emperor's Divide comes down for just a little bit of extra flair, as now the Rider of the Arcane. Oh my goodness, that's the Arcane Comet pick up on 1 kill. Is he going to be able to get any more? A lot of damage coming through here, as that was all without the fight. Oh my goodness, Snickers MVP just has a heat-seeking missile on Bug right now.
Point and click ability, but this is all stalling for Halal on the base.
Everything is just about stalling, and they're finally going to be able to take down this dragon. Isn't going to be stolen here, though. It is not. Fluoride's going to go down, though. They don't have any defense. They're just losing their base, and they can't get back to defend it. My goodness, the poke coming through. There's pings going down. Valor is available. Halal tries to get in the fight, flashes forward, gets the kill onto Boomer, but now the rest of the fight is going completely in favor of Anonymous, as the damage is just so completely there. TP comes through. This could be the end of the game.
And what was a 4 versus fight just devolves as one after one of these members of Yukon get picked off. And in this absolute chaos, we see Anonymous Esports blossoming. Kiss me slow. He's going to try one more time.
All right, they're not going to be able to get it. They don't have minions here. They're pinging to back off. They got one of the towers, the mid inhib as well, able to help themselves out in the gold department, floating right around that 9k gold lead for themselves, and a big series of events here for Anonymous.
Yeah, and Good lord. Boomer, he just finally completed the Muramana on this Ezreal at 24,
Oof.
almost 25 minutes, and that's not a good sign when they're this far down. Like, I don't know. What's the bright side here for this
Oh,
Yukon
goodness. Oh,
competition?
goodness. Fluoride, the power point of the team, is not able to take Halal anymore. And now that is that bit of scaling we were highlighting before on the fact that Quinn can start getting the advantage in the side lanes. And now we're going to see her providing a nice bit of distraction on the bot side of the map where they actually aren't going to respond to her. Tempered Fate comes out yet again.
Missile.
Again gets caught out and hits by Tempered Fate. And now that just leads to a 4v5 fight. And this could just be going all in Anonymous's favor here as they are pressing their power points around the map. Their pressure is unbelievable, and they are at a huge advantage so far.
Yeah, as now this top lane inner turret, not much longer for the world. Scorcher Blaze, he drops the Frozen Domain, but let's be honest, this Trundle isn't going to be able to stop them. This Ezreal isn't going to be able to stop them. There's supers coming into the base, and they have to somehow mount a defense against this push. Thankfully, no Baron buffs to deal with, but you're still having to deal with all those piercing arrows and all those arcane barrages.
And guess who is still pushing the side lane right now? It is none other but Halal, who is just able to use so much of that mobility to be in that side lane. And so far, nobody has really responded to him, so he's working on the inhib tower here.
Yeah, and this is the biggest worry I had about UConn's team in Champions Select. Like, they don't really have ways to start off this fight if Anonymous Esports don't want to. Like, they're just having to sit here, watch their towers fall, watch their health bars drop.
Ooh, big Emperor's Divide coming through as well as a True Shot Barrage. That's going to catch Yamfang and Hades out. Darius is in the backline, but a Lamb's Respite stops the Guillotine from coming through, but it doesn't matter. They still lose 2 members and a huge shutdown going over to Bug. Meanwhile, the Nexus towers are being hammered on by Halal, who is going to get caught out here, but did get both Nexus towers, providing the option for a backdoor.
Yeah, and if we look in the top lane, little last cheeky push of that wave to get it to crash into tower, and this base in shambles. Sure, they won the battle, but have UConn won the war here? I don't think so, because we have 30 seconds till that Baron's up, and everyone on the side of Anonymous Esports is going to be up for that. But you know what's not going to be up? These inhibitors for UConn. And when you're having to deal with those two constantly pushing super waves, and a Baron's on the table, and you're down nearly 10,000 gold, it is not looking pretty if you're a UConn player right now.
There are some very big factors going into the rest of this game. Dragon's coming up in 45 seconds. You're on Soul Point. It is only the Cloud Dragon, so it's not going to give you all that much. That extra cooldown could help you win the day in those big fights, especially based around the ultimates. And Baron is up already and available, and it actually looks like Anonymous want to head that way. I mean, they've got 3 members positioned over there. Meanwhile, it's going to be Halal being the odd man out here as everybody is positioning around that top side of the map. Meanwhile, it is a defensive stance coming through from Connecticut.
Yeah, keep in mind, though, here for Connecticut, there is one maybe potential way they get back into this fight, though.
Halal is going to get caught out here. That Scorcher Blade is going to arrive as... Oh my goodness, that was huge, but even bigger was Fluoride's ultimate there. But the Baron was unfortunately uncontested here, and is just going to go over to Anonymous as the Dragon is being focused on for the side of Connecticut. Are they just going to go for it here?
This is going to be Soul Point, but they might just lose their base for it. They're channeling the recalls now, but look at that wave already pushing in. That turret in the top lane already has a decent amount of chip, and it is not going to be much longer for this world. Look at that bot lane too, Lemons. 2 super minions in that. Someone has to respond to that. That's going to be all the inhibitor turrets down. And 2 exposed inhibs here. Let's see if they do go for it. Because keep in mind, Anonymous Esports, they don't have to go for this fight. They just have to use their abilities, poke out these members. Bug, drop to half. That's pretty key. Boomer, nearly down to half. That's pretty damn key too. And that's not even accounting for the supers that are hammering away on a exposed Nexus.
Yeah, True Shot Barrage comes out from Boomer. Now it's going to be the flash forward into the Shurima Shuffle as well, as now the fight is actually going in favor here of Connecticut. Fluoride is on the backside, doing so much damage and work.
Look
as
at the base!
Huge temper fate over the Lambs fight, though.
Look at the base! Look at the base! Look at the base!
It's going to be Quinn who's looking to finish it here. Does he have enough? Boomer has arrived as well, but it is going to be 1 health on the Nexus there. Bug is able to stop it, and the defense comes through.
Oh my god, and they're able to hold off here for UConn. 1 hit off, like, this Quinn for Halal, so close to taking it. He even flashed into the base to try and pull that off, but just not enough. And
Can't go for it. Just 1 more. My goodness, it was so close. There's so many things that you can like dissect about those moments, and it brings back a lot of flashbacks to like the Caps jumping over the wall, the Nexus thing, where like there's those like milliseconds that can decide the game either way. But a great push there, and honestly what I've been expecting for the last few moments from Halal on this Quinn, because you do have that mobility, you do have that strength to get behind enemy lines, and they have no defenses left.
yeah, and with both the big buffs being off the table here for another 3.5 minutes, basically, that is going to be some breathing room for this mid lane inhibitor to respawn. Or, sorry, bot lane inhibitor to respawn. Mid lane was the most recent one to drop. Still, though, I mean, look at Halal. He's looking at this top lane. Once again, he tried to go for a little cheeky backdoor there, but was spotted out by a blue trinket. Either way, though, this mid lane is under siege.
Still got the Baron buff for just a bit longer here, so they're going to be able to use a bit more poke and pressure. But the thing is there is going to be a pretty strong defense, a wall, if you will, set up here by Connecticut, because they do have a lot of that siege defense, especially looking at that Azir. But you have no towers, and so it makes these fights a lot harder, and the positioning is so crucial, as we're going to see Tempered Fate go through. Actually not going to connect on anybody. Rat of the Arcane, though, is going to put a bunch of damage down onto, actually, Wild Growth was used on Kiss Me So. Now Fluoride's going to get engaged on. Here comes the big fight, though. Emperor's Divide. 2 members in the back, but that's going to be Lambs' Respite coming through as well. The members of Connecticut are getting so low, but so are the members of Anonymous, as they're going to be heading for the hills here. It is Bug and Boomer who are the backbone of this team, and they are pulling out all of the stops.
Yeah, the scaling has kicked in, and no one on this Anonymous Esports composition really has the beef to go in and take all that damage. Bug, he's constantly going in for these Shurima shuffles, just knocking back 1, 2, sometimes even 3 of those members on the Anonymous roster into his team's waiting arms. And oh lord, like, there might be some comeback potential here yet, as the gold lead has shrunk to 5,000 between these two teams, and that's not accounting for that current Cloud Soul that's been picked up by UConn.
If there's anybody in this game that's going to make the flashy plays, so far it has been Bug, with these huge Emperor's Divides coming through. The Shurima Shuffle mechanics are on point, at least in the later parts of this game, because they weren't necessarily in the beginning. But here, with these closed fights, you're in your side of the base. They have walls that they have to deal with. You have a lot more options for the engages. And every time that this big Shurima Shuffle comes through, Yamfang immediately has to pop Lambs' Respite, and that gives everybody the time to react to that situation.
Yeah, because I thought that last fight was going to be pretty good for Anonymous Esports. They caught out Fluoride. They chunked him like all hell. And they even blocked the Noxian Guillotine reset there. But once that Lamb's Respite ends, everybody just instantly dies here on this Anonymous composition. And they're going to need something to break open this game once again. Because once that mid lane inhibitor respawns, they are going to be having a much harder time, since those downed inhibs are affording them a lot of luxuries. Halal!
Oh goodness, Halal's going to get caught here. That's an immediate dunk from Fluoride, and Darius is online and ready to go for the rest of this game.
Yeah, and keep in mind, Halal won't be up in time for this Elder Dragon that's spawning. So what's going to be the call here? Is Anonymous Esports just going to try and fight this out, delay it, or maybe even try and pop open the base? As you see all these members, they're kind of a little finicky from UConn.
The ward has fallen in the base. The saving grace, I guess, for Shade's TP. I was keeping an eye on it just in case, but they didn't really have the positioning to make an advantage out of that. So that is not an option anymore. It looks like you're just going to have to try and take this fight. Because honestly, they've been taking these mechanical fights Connecticut have. And if they get Elder Dragon buff, it's going to be that much harder to execute.
Yeah, because keep in mind that inhibitor in that mid lane is respawning right here. There's the Rite of the Arcane. There's the Tempered Fate.
Yeah, they're setting this up. A lot of damage going down. Everybody going forward, though. Bug was trying to get something picked off there, but Flash coming out from Boomer. Everybody's looking to pick him off on the side. He goes in for reason. And Talal's able to pick that up. The Dragon goes down to Connecticut, though, as they have the Elder Dragon buff. That's going to execute Yanfeng here, as now Fluoride have maybe bit off a bit more than he can chew. He's going to look for the healing, though. Flash from Snickers with the outplay. Are they going to be able to get Fluoride here? They are not.
Teleport.
As the shield comes down. Finally, TP comes through from Shades. He doesn't have an inhib, though, so he's going to have to burn through that first. Is he going to have the time? Nobody is going to be able to stop these backs. Azir is actually going to get through with that back, which means that it's going to be a lot tougher for Shades to pull this off, as he's going to have everybody collapse on top of him, and he goes down.
Yeah. Oh, 1 for 1.
The snipe coming through from Hades, though.
Oh?
Oh, Shurima Shuffle Emperor's Divide right into Snickers and Hades, who puts them in the worst possible position. The wings come out, and the kills go over.
Yeah, and Bug on this Azir has been so crucial. I'm surprised that Emperor's Divide was back up. Keep in mind, though, that inhib is still open. We see Florid going back to base defending duties because Halal. We all know he wants to go in for that. He's hovering around. Boomer is also in the wings. Look at Yanfeng, though. He might just get a steal here on this Baron. Not the biggest. 50-50.
Oh, smited a little bit early. That's going to be picked up by Bug as Kindred goes down.
Yeah, and good lord, we're just seeing this game devolve, I feel like. Neither of these teams really sticking to anything, it feels. But it does feel like UConn, they're at least sticking a little more here now that they're coming online. And even though they have to rely on that Shurima shuffle for an engage, Bug has been doing such an impeccable job on this Azir. He's making it work for his team, which is absolutely critical.
Monstrous what Bug is pulling off in these fights. And it's setting up everything else for them. And it's been working out beautifully. They are in the lead now after having been super far in the deficit. And that's what turtling can accomplish for you here, as they don't have any base defense. They have no towers, but they have teamwork. And so far, it's been working out beautifully for them.
Yeah, because this poke split push composition, it doesn't work as well when you're defending the base like this. You're so tight knit. Everyone's so close to that platform to heal. Not to mention, you can respond to a split push in another lane so much more easily. It's really hindering a lot of what this anonymous esports composition wants to do. And they kind of have to take a fight and win it here at this point. But it hasn't been working out, as there's kind of just level advantages across the board here, except in that support role here for UConn. And that is going to be a big deal.
I think another big deal is Yanfeng has not been very proficient on the hunts this time. He's still sitting at only 5 stacks. So it has that initial boost to it, but doesn't have the extra after the 7 and everything going on from there. So that is definitely a point that I think is a bit important, because you see that really Yanfeng is not able to do anything but use the Lamb's Respite in these fights, because you just don't have a lot of the damage, you don't have the sustainability, and you're not able to survive long enough. So you know that you have to burn that big ultimate immediately, or you're just going to get bursted out.
Yeah, and honestly, like, we're approaching 40 minutes now in this game, and I don't think we're going to see it ending anytime soon here, because there's just so much posturing coming out from both teams here. And I feel like soon enough, Shades, I think he's going to switch to more traditional crit Varus here, because this lethality build is falling off with all this armor that has been itemized, and just switching to that continuous DPS-esque build might help his team here a decent bit in fights, but it's just so hard to call. And I feel like Anonymous Esports, they're kind of balancing this game on a knife's edge. Like, they have to do a lot to execute their composition this late in the game.
execution is a matter of importance here towards the end of these games, especially on the positioning and the fights. And it has been so much about these fights. Obviously, we've highlighted Bug going in with these engagements, but it's also the back line. I mean, Kiss Me Slow has been getting caught out over and over again, but Boomer on this Ezreal is the silent killer, I feel like. He's just been standing super far in the back, able to hammer them down. And unfortunately, I haven't seen a lot come through from Shades in these later fights. He gets caught out. He isn't able to really proficiently position himself, and he just keeps being the one that gets engaged on or gets followed up on immediately after the engagement. And you need him to be that strong force that we saw last game, sitting in the back, having that expert positioning and being able to fire away at his enemies. And so far, I have not seen that in these later fights.
Yeah, although we do have another Elder spawning here very soon. That inhib in the bot still down for at least a little bit longer, although I imagine not much longer. Speak of the devil, it's going to be back up in just a few seconds here, and well before that Elder spawns. And I feel like this might backfire a little, Lemons, but I want to say that I feel like the fight that's going to happen at this Elder is going to decide the game.
Yeah, it's gonna be a big one, I feel like, especially both these teams really needing it to help push their goals here. Because the first, on one hand, you have Anonymous who really need this extra strength to be able to push in the base, but on the other side, you need it as a siege defense here, and it does look like it's actually going to be Anonymous who get the first pickings at this dragon. But everybody's waiting on the other side of the map. TP finally coming out from Ezreal to get in position here, as Halal is just kind of searching and waiting. He's actually going to try and catch out a bit of a flank here on the backside. Tempered Fate comes out as well and use that ultimate a bit prematurely, as nobody's going to get caught by it, but the catch out could be happening as the pillars go through. Yanfeng have to be careful. They are on the bad side of this fight, though. Yanfeng's super low, as there is a ton of damage coming through, as well as the poke. But it's on both sides here. Shades is letting loose right of the arcane coming through. Halal is finally heading up towards this dragon fight here, as now the pillar comes through to stop the rest of the ride of the arcane. Are we going to see a big fight there? On the other side, though, it's going to be Halal getting caught in the back. He gets a double kill, though, for himself, but the guillotine comes through, and now the members are chasing. Fluoride looks so tanky. Those are dead members coming across the board for Anonymous, and huge guillotines to shut them down. They are now looking at the Elder Dragon here. If Shades can make it happen, he can. Blue team picks it up, and Shades goes down.
Yeah, and these late game team fights are just all going in the favor of UConn, and that's just the scaling advantage. We saw it last game, we saw it this game, and it looks like it's going to be kind of an all she wrote here for Anonymous Esports. Sure, they still have this mid-outer, but you kind of threw everything at the wall in that team fight, and it didn't work out. Now you're just going to be having to deal with things getting progressively worse and worse and worse as the game goes on. Now you're going to be having to deal with a Baron push. Now you don't have any downed inhibs to help you constantly push the lane and apply pressure, so what are they going to do here?
The thing I do want to highlight here is that Connecticut still have a lot of base to go through, though. They've got a lot of towers to take down. They do go down fast at this point in the game, but it's still those extra moments, those extra seconds that are added onto the pushes, and it could mean a big difference in how quickly they're able to end the game here. But you have 3 pristine inhibs up, ready to defend their side of the base for Connecticut. And it's been about Halal trying to get the backside of these fights, but it honestly has been Fluoride being the stopper to that, watching and waiting for Halal, knowing that he can take the fights. And Halal just is kind of left wanting and running around. You saw him go back and forth across their base like 4 times during that Elder Dragon engagement. And finally he decides to go help his team. Does not work out for them either. So honestly, it's getting a bit hard to see how Halal gets into their base unless they just make an egregious mistake.
Yeah, and the movement speed aspect of this Cloud Dragon is so huge in dealing with Halal on this Quinn, because he was pushing away Fluoride, pulling him towards that base quite a bit during that fight, but just the out-of-combat MS from that Cloud Soul is helping out so much with dealing with these rotations and just running down all these members.
Running down the members is indeed a big part of it for sure. As it's still, I love it because Florid is just having a blast running back and forth at his base. Now they actually get to see Halal, so he feels a little bit more confident to leave. But he's literally just the guard at this point, and he can handle himself. And that's the beautiful thing about having this pick for yourself in the later parts of the game, is we've seen how clutch those guillotines come through, and just how much they can impact those big team fights.
Yeah, and Halal not able to 1v1 this Darius for Fluoride. That is kind of a very huge deal here, because Quinn needs to split push, and if you're not able to win that 1v1, you kind of don't really bring a lot to the team except some annoyance.
Annoyance can be telling, though, and can have a lot of effect in this game, especially those like split-second decisions. If you can get into the head of your opponent, maybe they don't make that decision correctly. But we are just going to see a bit of a 45-minute lull state here, where nobody's really ever able to completely commit. We've got almost everybody at 6 items. Everybody's feeling pretty good in these fights. And that is the part I love in League of Legends, is when it comes down to mechanics instead of just the amount of gold you have in your pocket. And that's what we're going to be getting here pretty soon as the final items come through.
Yeah, although all this wave clear coming out from Anonymous Esports is helping them stall up this Baron buff quite immensely, and that's actually going to be all of the Baron buff there. So in the end, we're left with 25-24 in the kills, and kind of a dead even game state. Halal hanging out in this bot lane. I don't think he was seen there, but Fluoride going to be walking down whether or not he did see him.
And, we have some time to kill here, so I just kind of want to go over some of these ultimates. And honestly, a big reason why I feel like the defense has been a bit easier for Connecticut. You're looking at the Noxian Guillotine of a 39-second cooldown. The Subjugate, 39 seconds as well. The Embers Divide, 37 seconds, just about 38 seconds. And the Wild Growth is literally 31 seconds. Now, the biggest difference in that is Ezreal, but he gets a bit of extra cooldown to himself, so I'm not going to take the 50 seconds right off the cuff. But those are huge cooldowns that are so close to being just regular abilities.
Yeah, and honestly, something has to give in this game at some point. We're 47 minutes in, almost 47 and a half. To whoever was big brains and took the Gathering Storm this game, I applaud you, because you're getting some pretty good value right now.
I'm just having so much fun with these little chimes. Look at that! Oh my goodness, directed cam, why you gotta do this? That was so cool. I love to see all the little chimes running behind them, especially the little as we are going to be seeing another Elder Dragon spawn here. It's going to be the third of the game, and honestly, I'm starting to think, how many more can we get?
I like this, though. Halal's hanging around the top lane hiding, but Flora just immediately goes there. He's like, you know what? I know what you've been doing all game. Oh my god. Yanfeng, please don't do this to me.
Oh my goodness. It's also Bug just being at that point where Azirs gets so scary, and the scaling is just so hard to deal with, and we've seen it time and time again. It honestly makes you think back to the Nexus being at literally 1 HP, almost just a tap away. And that would have been the difference in this series. But now we're seeing a valiant comeback coming through from Connecticut. We're going to see it top off here more than likely around this fight, as this is going to be the moment that you put up or shut up.
Yeah, look at the True Shot Barrage come out. Look for the Tempered Fate. It's going to be a 4 versus 4. Both top laners gone.
Snickers is getting dropped there, though. You do have a bit of a skirmish going on through the top lanes. Tempered Fate comes out, but way too late, as now the members are going to start falling. Shades is finally on the backside, able to get some damage off, but Halal joins the fight a bit late. Kispy slow flashes over the wall. Halal gets taken down, and they're going to turn their focus onto the Elder Dragon. Is there a play that Yanfeng can make to pull this out? This is the moment of glory. Who can take it? Shades is going to get burned down here. He goes down. Is it going to be it? It is not. Trundle picks up the Elder Dragon, and everything in this fight is going in the favor of Connecticut. And they're going to look at the base, as these death timers are ridiculous.
And that has to be the game here. They have that Elder buff. They have the minion wave pushing up. They have all the items on their 2 carries. They're going to shred through this tower, and with more than 20 seconds till Snickers is back up, this is going to be a 3-game series here at Lemons.
Couldn't ask for a better series to have it on. The dream is alive, and we are going to a game number 3 here in the Upsurge Minor League matchup between Anonymous Esports and University of Connecticut. What a series so far, and so back and forth. This last game put the cherry on top. I'm just so excited for game number 3.
Yeah, because it was kind of reverse of the last game where it was Anonymous Esports getting outscaled and failing to be able to mount anything in the late game there. And Anonymous Esports, I mean, I like some of the ideas, but triple AD carry,
one auto attack go free now. One auto, we would be done. We'd be calling it a night. It'd be over. AE would have gone and had a great night. But no, the one auto attack never came through, and the 30-minute comeback almost did for the side of Connecticut. And you just look at the knockout, drag-out game we just had. 50 minutes almost, just 3 seconds shy. And it's just crazy to think, like, the numbers don't exactly tell the story of this game because it was actually Anonymous who were completely ahead. They, at one point, almost 10K gold lead, but then they were not able to put the siege down and were not able to come out on top.
Yeah, like, it is just so tragic. But I think on that note, we're going to have to cut it to a break here on the caster desk because our throats do need a little bit of a break after that bit of a punching bag on our vocal cords that was that last game. But don't go anywhere because this is shaping up to be quite the series, and I don't think you guys want to miss this game number 3.
And I've been chilling, watching the ocean with you. Baby, up with a slow motion crew. And we up in our cloudlands when people change, but not us. And we just chillin', kicking it, kissed by the sun. Could be soaked to the skin in the monsoon. I know she got the good vibes when seasons change, but we're the same. Even if I lost all my money, the zero runs deep, honey. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. Even if my jokes aren't funny, my tongue tied up on it. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. 'Cause you got me holding, holding. Cause you got me holding. And I'll be running, possessed by a low, low voodoo. Fired up like a wolf on a full moon. And we're stuck in a la la land. The tides will turn without us. And I'll be killing time like I might be a cartoon. Take it in real life like haiku. I know we got the good vibes when pieces fall right into place. Even if I lost all my money, the zero runs deep, honey. And I don't need to speak.
We are back and ready for game number 3 of this huge series that we've seen back and forth over and over in both game 1 and 2. And honestly, very different results, although both very long games. But we are in for a long night here, folks, and I hope you're going to continue to join us as we get these two teams ready to battle for this final game 3.
Yeah, because keep in mind, we started at 8 EST. It is currently 10:30 p.m. EST. So it has been 2.5 hours, and we still have a game number 3. So both these teams, suffice to say, they're definitely warmed up at this point after a 42.5-minute slugfest. And then what was that game? Like a 48-minute one, I want to say?
Yeah, I want to say it was like 43 or somewhere around there. But yeah, both long drawn out games. And it was really cool because game 2 had such a different hail to game number 1. Game number 1 really was just about Anonymous having a huge dominating performance in the later parts of the game. Whereas game number 2, Anonymous had a great standout performance in the first half of the game. But the last 30 minutes were a bit different.
Yeah, but this time around, we are now into picking bans, and familiar faces on the board already with that Tryndamere instantly banned away here. No surprises, considering, we do have a Tryndamere one trick on one team, and it looks like it's just going to be the exact same things all around. Both these teams, they know the other very well.
Yeah, honestly, I expect this draft to be a little bit more streamlined here. The picks are where I'm really curious how we're going to see. Verif picked up for the 3rd time in a row for Anonymous here, as immediately we see the Thresh Darius locked in by UConn.
Yeah, and no surprises there, since that Darius did eventually get rolling. Granted, though, we'll have to see this time around, because I do feel like a little bit of it was kind of a bit of a compositional difference that game. But into the Shen, though, this Darius should have a fairly easy time post an item.
Yeah, that's a bit questionable to me. That matchup is never fun, Shen and Darius. Now, the biggest trade-off is looking later in the games, post level 6, being able to get around the map, help your teammates, and have that extra viability there, where maybe Darius doesn't. Darius didn't didn't take the TP last time, so he's either going to be forced to take the TP this time or be at a disadvantage. Where I'm sure that the Shen is going to be taking a TP of his own to be able to get around the map a little bit quicker. Now, we do see the Trundle as that pickup as the last phase for Anonymous. So you're going to be able to add that extra strength to the composition. And honestly, I do feel like the mind games that I highlighted last draft were a thing, and it definitely helped shape their composition. Seeing that Trundle first pick this time, we are going to see UConn bring out that Kane. See if there can be a different performance this time around.
Yeah, Because we saw that Kane in game number 1, and it was very slow rolling. But with that Kane locked in, that means this Darius here for UConn, that is going to be a prime subjugation target right there.
Yeah.
Like, every time this Darius wants to go in, gets subjugated, shredded through. And now imagine as a Darius having to walk around a Trundle Pillar. You just don't enjoy it.
This is never fun. We are getting through the second phase bans here. We saw the Azir taking out the side for blue, and Vel'Koz, again, that constant ban on the red side. Gonna keep that one off of the hands here of these mid laners, as Bard and Veigar are looking like the last two bans here. The Bard ban, I definitely respect. The Veigar didn't have the greatest time, but I can see a different world in a different game where that can be effective, but it looks like they are just going to go with one of these mid laners as their ban, which means that they are definitely focusing that mid lane priority pool in that second phase. Immediately, Misfortune is the pickup here for UConn, though.
I mean, you have to remember, Brahm's on the table, and we all kind of know how big of a counter that can be. But we'll have to see, because Anonymous, they might not play it there, because you have to keep in mind that Snickers MVP is kind of a hardcore Bard player. He's got so many games on that compared to other champions, so we'll have to see what he whips out this game.
We will have to see as Lissandra, pick we haven't seen so far in the series, comes through, and is that going to be a Zillion lock-in? That would be a little bit curious for myself here, but could still be beneficial to this Varus. I just think that combination is a bit wonky. But we're going to have to see how that all lays out here, as it does look like it's going to be the Zillion locked in. And last pick coming up for UConn could be a big one. Is definitely looking at that mid lane there for them, as the pool was brought down just a bit. I still think there are a lot of powerful options, and they're going to go ahead and go with that Orianna.
Yeah, a lot of potential for a wombo here between the Misfortune and Orianna. So UConn, they do have that option to go with. But we'll have to see once we get into team fights, because you do have the Chrono Shift, you do have the Glacial Prison on that Lissandra, so it might be a little hard to kill some of these members.
That's exactly where you're looking at, and I don't feel like the composition from UConn is that much different. I mean, I definitely don't see the late game mid laner. Orianna is very strong, especially in the mid game towards the early parts of the late game, but it's not going to be the same story as Azir, who was, I'm just going to say, pretty much single-handedly taking those fights with those engages and everything like that. Now, you do have the possibility of that with these shockwaves, but in a bit of a different fashion. I do think every other part around them is still very balanced and a very strong pickup for all of these members. And then you look across here at the side of the other side of the map, and it just gets a little bit scary, because you have seen some of these picks go through already. Some not, though. The Shin, Lissandra, and Zillion. So it means they are trying to change things up for the last game. But how does that work out for your composition, as we saw a bit of a falter there in the later parts of the last game?
Yeah, because, I mean, I respect being able to switch it up, but they've kind of tried a new thing every game this series here for Anonymous Esports. UConn, like you said, this composition they've locked in is kind of similar to the last one they had, albeit slightly different, more or less the same thing. And I don't know, like, you have to keep in mind, I mentioned earlier, it's been 2.5 hours, and we still have this game number 3. Like, there has to be some nerves riding on these players right now, and there has to be some sort of mental effect going on, because, I mean, you don't play for that long, especially after the last game where it was a literal 1 HP Nexus, and you were just that close to finishing.
Just have to think about the mental state for these players, especially. I mean, like you had highlighted at the beginning of this, 2.5 hours in, we've only gotten 2 games, and these players are definitely going to be feeling. I know I'm feeling. I'm just talking over them. So the stress being in the game is definitely going to be a big factor, especially as you had mentioned how the last game played out for Anonymous. It just feels real bad to get pretty much choked out like that after you were in such a prime position to finish it off.
Yeah. And, I mean, we'll have to see what happens this game, because this is completely new for them. The Shen top, the Trundle jungle, Lissandra mid, well, Shades on Bears, that's a constant. But Sticker's MVP on the Zillion, like, no one except Shades on this anonymous esports comp has picked the same champion more than once this entire series, and kind of something pretty damn similar for UConn be here outside of that Darius in the top lane.
Honestly, the fluoride on the Darius scares the crud out of me because, man, those guillotines give you like PTSD. As he was just pulling off some great moves in those fights, and it's just a rough time. I think that Shin is going to be a little bit more of a, I guess, a defensive answer than the Quinn was. I don't think the Quinn in the later parts had any effect really, and was really just kind of there as a potential tool to backdoor, but the backdoor was never there. And so I hope to see a difference this time from the Shin and a more team play focused environment for Anonymous, because that is something they were lacking last time. Meanwhile, for the side of Connecticut, I think you just keep trudging along the same way you were in the last parts of that game, and you're going to feel real confident.
Yeah, but with that being said, though, I do believe we have one last sponsor here before we hop into this game number 3.
We do, and that is going to be Unified Esports Association, previously known as Midwest Esports. They are a Kansas-based company that oversees multiple products that specialize and operate as a dynamic pipeline within the esports industry, providing shared experiences that directly serve collegiate, youth, hobbyist, and amateur video game players at every stage, starting as a small student group out of Wichita State University. Since then, UEA has grown to be a veteran organizer to tournaments and events throughout the United States. They host tournaments for games like League of Legends, Rocket League, as well as Overwatch. And for more information, go check them out at uea.gg. Now, with that being said, we're going to send to a small spectator delay. Do not go anywhere because we have the culmination of all these hours, all this blood, sweat, and tears put into this game coming right at you. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if we caught you unawares, but we are here and ready for game number 3. As we get onto the Rift, you are going to see these two teams clash in the ultimate game of this best of 3 series, where we are tied 1-1, and we actually get to see some shenanigans starting us off here. Go Farina.
Yeah, and this is going to be one hell of a way to start off this game, but
Oh, the
I
ward.
believe they were already spotted out. They're going to get spotted out anyways on this ward in here. Going to see all 5 members, and Anonymous Esports are going to go, let's not walk into that one, as Shade's going to be steering very, very far clear off this bot side.
Yeah, you immediately see the push up towards the red side of the red jungle, and you're going to see a bit of priority put up there. They did just get a ward there just to see what was going on. Meanwhile, the ward was placed in the opposing side on the bot side as well. So going to just see a bit of a trade of objective vision here for both teams. And it is going to be Kane getting spotted out first here after that deep ward, going on to the red buff.
Yeah, and that is kind of big to know where this Kane wants to go, because a huge point in that game number 1 was just how late that Kane got the evolution. And if you're able to spot out and know where the ganks are going to go, you're going to be able to delay that much longer. It is going to be a red Kane once again this game, and not really too much of a surprise there.
Both junglers not taking a leash this game either. They're starting off in their respective camps. You saw Raptors taken by Kane. Meanwhile, the Wolves were started by the Trundle. And so that leads me to believe we might see a bit of a different path come out this time around. Level 2 is not hit on the bot side, but aggression coming out anyways on the side of Connecticut B. They are going to get a bit of a upper hand in the bot side as well.
Yeah, but in the top side, I feel like Halal is going to need a lot of help on the Shen, since Shen into Darius is a little brutal for the Shen player.
Especially early on, it just feels a bit rough when you're getting those bleeds put on you and it just doesn't stop. But I feel like Halal can have a decent matchup up here, as Yanfeng is going to make sure of that here as the first gank comes across. Pillar not going to get the exact angle you wanted to cut off that retreat, but Flash comes out anyways. Fluoride having to use both of his summoner spells that time is going to mean we are sure to see Yanfeng go back top lane.
Yeah, and Fluoride going for the Ghost and Flash once again this game, so Halal is going to have such a huge teleport advantage. It's effectively 3 teleports to 1 here in favor of Anonymous Esports. That's going to be a lot of cross-map leverage, and Fluoride, he's going to really have to make the best of this lane, but Yanfeng, if he's able to come top again like that, this Darius might just be mincemeat, and sure, getting Halal a kill in lane, it's only going to delay the inevitable, and the Shen, even a kill or 2 up, I don't think he's going to really be solo killing Fluoride all that soon. But, I mean, if you're able to buy that time for Halal, put this Darius behind, and really help leverage the fact that, I mean, Halal can jump around the map, and this Darius can't. That can be absolutely massive here for Anonymous Esports.
It could be, and it's all going to be about who's got the advantage. And because there does come a point where if you're super far behind in gold and kills and whatnot, you can't really be proactive with the Stand United. You can't really do those big TP plays towards the bot side or the mid or anything like that, or even the objectives. And so you need to be at a good state to pull that off.
Ooh, that's a hook.
The nice hook go through on a Snickers. He's going to try to... He stayed there way too long, though. He's going to flash out. The heal came out as well. The Ignite was ticking. Kiss Me Slowly is looking like he's going to go down. The arrow comes through, and the sniper shots are raining. As now we're going to see the TP come through. Yanfeng gets slowed down as well. Shades is still fighting away, but luckily the TP was stopped there as it was not going to be connected. Now the TP coming through for Shen. These are the plays that we were talking about. The taunt comes out. That is going to be the double kill coming through. And that is exactly what we were looking for from Anonymous.
Oh my god. And that is so huge. 3 kills picked up in the bot lane. 2 of them and an assist going over to Shades on the Varus, who's just been so big this entire series. And good god, that is the differential in teleports here. Bug was almost there, but thankfully, hey, he's able to stop that. And, I mean, what is Fluoride able to get in the top lane here? A CS lead, and not even a plate, it looks like. So, overall, just a fatty dub going down in the books for Anonymous Esports. But that was one battle, and we do still have an entire game on our hands.
Bommy Cinder was picked up here for the Shen, so that's going to be a huge boon for him going into the lane against this Darius. And the fact that there isn't a big gold lead having been developed in the top lane now because of that absence in the lane means that Shen is still going to be feeling real good. And now, in about a one level, you're going to see the Stand United come through. And I expect to see a lot of the same of what we saw early on here in that big engagement in the bot side.
Yeah, because once that Stand United comes in, I mean, you hook someone, you go in on that hook, all of a sudden, Stand United comes in. There's a 600 health shield that wasn't there half a second ago, and you're like, well, I done goofed, boys. I will catch you and spawn, because you're not making it out of that one.
Indeed, but you're still looking at Shades to be the primary benefactor of all this gold, and it is 2 kills up for the Varus so far, as we're going to see a big trade go in favor of Fluoride on the top side, but still been a lot of just standard kind of laning practices happening in the mid lane. That stop of the TP was pivotal in that, though. I mean, that was Hades pulling out a beautiful play, being able to set up his bot lane for success, but it's going to be how the rest of the game plays out for these mid laners, because they are going to be super effective in the big fights. Now that level 6s are going to be available as well, you're going to have a lot of CC coming out from both of them.
Yeah, and I feel like this first dragon is actually going to be kind of key, because we're talking about how rough it is going to be for the Shen in this matchup, and he's already 22 CS down. But if the Shen is able to get that Ocean Dragon, it's actually going to be very nice for him. If he goes in, takes a little bit of an ouchie from a trade, hey, you're able to regen up a little bit more of that. And there is a lot of potential burn on this Anonymous Esports composition, and they kind of need a little bit of time to work you. They aren't the burstiest of compositions, and just having that extra health regen to help them potentially stay a little more alive in fights, hey, never hurts. But Yanfeng looking to put some pain.
Yeah, it gets a nice pillar out, but the double bomb is under the tower, so going to get a nice bit of poke there, but not going to be able to set up the kill, as now it's going to be the Trundle looking at the dragon. Meanwhile, Kane is across map farming the enemy side of the jungle here.
Yeah, but that cross map does mean it is going to be the objective going over, and this first dragon is going to be so clutch here, because we saw what the Soul did last game in favor of Yukon. Now we already have that rolling in. Sadly, though, not keeping with the trends of the series, we're not going to have a Cloud Soul in this third game, which would have been a really nice send-off to get the hat trick. But either way, I mean, still, it's been a hell of a series so far.
It really has. I've been having so much fun, and I get this amazing series of games for my first ever cast for Upsurge, and now see Fluoride. You know, the bad side. Oh my goodness, the guillotine comes out. That just made me just jump in my seat for a second, because it was immediately after the spin coming through with the guillotine, but the damage calculation was just not there completely, as Halal was able to get out with just a smidgen of health left.
This is going to be a lot of damage on this top tower. Halal does not have the teleport, and that was a Rift Herald just picked up here, so Fluoride might finally be able to get this huge lead he needs.
Okay. I was about to say, like, walked all the way up to the tower to use it. Like, why not, I guess?
They wanted to get as many plates as they could before the Rift Herald comes in, since it does do true damage, and later plates are harder to get.
Now, ooh, beautiful pillar. Huge shockwave, though, right into the tower. There's the Lantern. Are you going to be able to take it, Bug? He can't! He goes down. Yanfeng able to pick up a kill in the mid lane.
That is going to be first tower in the top lane, though, so that is actually pretty damn huge, and that single-handedly helps swing the gold here, since they're kind of losing on the rest of the map here with the 4-1 in kills, and everyone just being up in terms of kills and assists on their opposition here from Anonymous Esports. But with that 36 CS lead in the top lane, with that first tower bonus, it does mean 1,100 extra gold is in this Darius's pockets compared to the Shen's, so that is a high point here for this Yukon team. But will that be enough to win the game for them?
I have a development here, GoFrino, and I am so happy to let you all, ladies and gentlemen, know it is not going to be a Cloud Soul for game number 3. At least we're gonna have the option of the Mountain or the Infernal Soul, as the Cloud Dragon is gonna be the next dragon to spawn in about 2 minutes and 45 seconds. I just wanted to let everybody's mind set at ease, as we're not gonna have the script continue with the Cloud Souls.
Yeah, and still though, that's still a little whiles out. We got another 4 minutes till the next Rift Herald, so not a lot on the map here to grab right now, and it is going to be about more of the mono on mono action here, unless we want to see some spicy buff contests, which is always a possibility. Hades is going to go in, going to throw out the claw, going to throw out the ice paw, but nothing really working.
Not going to get anything just yet. Chains of Corruption are going to land, though. That's a big shockwave on the two members, but Bug is going to get chased down by Hades. Does he have... Oh, my goodness, he flashes forward, misses the ability, but the auto attack is true and aimed. As he's able to pick up that one. They're going to look to push this mid tower, maybe a little bit more, but not going to be able to get much of it because the defense does come through. And now you're going to see Shades and Snicker head back to the bot side, where they're going to try to defend their tower a bit more.
Yeah, and yet another pickup in this mid lane. Bug just getting a little busted around in his chops, and not having the most fun, especially with that flash down. Sure, you throw out the shockwave, but if you're already caught by that chain of corruptions, you're already caught by that pillar. Oh, hello.
That's a big gank coming through. Ghost was popped by Fluoride, but he beautiful taunt through is not going to save him today, as Halal is not going to have a tower to save him and going to go down to Scorcher Blaze.
And Halal just... He's gonna kind of not get to play this game this time around. Here comes...
Oh, no. Scorcher Blaze, you got to be in some trouble here. He gets out with the flash through the wall, getting the heal from the passing of the terrain. And what an outplay there for Scorcher Blaze. He did get caught, but man, to pull it back like that.
Yeah. And Scorcher Blaze, he shouldn't be too far off his transformation, I feel, because there's been a ton of action on the map already for him. Just keep in mind, there's that bot lane fight he was in, and he's come top lane, 3 times now, I want to say? So that is quite the juicy amount of souls, and I wonder how much longer until he transforms.
I've seen a lot of Red Essence go that way, and I'm expecting, with, as we had pointed out to the Conqueror, he's looking to go Rast.
Oh, he has it right now, actually.
Yeah, I was just about to say, as we're going to see that transformation through, and a lot better than the last game for sure.
Yeah, and definitely an improvement over, what was it, 18 or 19 minute evolve. Here comes Fluoride, here comes Scorcher.
Yeah.
They want this dragon, and keep in mind, Fluoride has to be here if he wants a 5 versus 5, because you're against Deshen and you don't have teleport. That's going to be the dragon started up here by Yukon. Is there anything for Anonymous Esports to say? Doesn't look like it with Yanfeng in that top lane. Just counter jungling, as could be a mutual exchange of the buffs there, and it is going to be the Mountain Soul.
I for sure think that we're going to see an uptick in aggressiveness from Scorcher Blaze. He's already been pretty aggressive this game, but now having that advantage of the Rast form and a little bit earlier is going to help, and you already see the advantage being picked up. They do pick up that Cloud Dragon for themselves, and unfortunately they are going to lose a bit of objectives, like some tower plates on the top side, but they are able to get a dragon under their belt, set themselves up to contest over these dragon soul points, and it's really going to be about the rest of the next couple minutes in this mid game. Meanwhile, Halal is going to be getting brought down just a bit by Flora, flashing forward, guillotine. That's a bit overzealous, but he still picks up the kill. Doesn't matter. This is a Darius. You got to remember. Yanfeng's going to have to be very, very careful here. He's going to just get slowly but surely chased down as the knockup going to come through here. He's just making sure he can hit it. The dodges back and forth, but that is going to be it. Scorcher Blaze able to pick up another kill. And that Rast form is coming in clutch.
Yeah, and Mach 5 on this Trundle wasn't enough to get away, and Halal and Yanfeng, they thought they were cheeky in getting that tower. They thought they were out, but that one hook landing. Speaking of hooks landing, that one not gonna do. That's a little bit of a Casper curse, I guess, but you can't be pushing up that far against a Darius. Like, Halal really needs to bulk up here, but he's already down. In terms of itemization here, Fluoride has that full Triforce, whereas only the Tablis and components here for that Sunfire coming out from Halal. And this is going to be yet another Rift Herald going over to the side of Yukon B this game. And that can make for a lot of bank.
They have so much control over the top side of the map. Darius is a beast right now. He's sitting at almost double the CS that Halal has and is just feeling really good. And that comes to that point I was highlighting earlier, that you can have all these globals, but if you can't deal with what you're leaving in the lane, you got to be real careful how you use them, because Darius can carry the games. We saw last time where he was doing so much damage in the later parts of the game, and he's already doing that in this and can continue to do so throughout the next while that we have in this game.
Oh, Boomer.
He is not going to get pillared just yet, though.
Okay.
As yeah, I'm a bit curious. Maybe just didn't have it up at that exact moment, but it is going to be Hades getting caught out here, and Fluoride is just having the time of his life on this Darius. Now that's going to be a big frozen tomb coming through, but the bleed is there. It doesn't even need the guillotine because he's able to pick up the kill.
Yeah, and this Darius is already way too big for this Lissandra to deal with, who doesn't have the armor just quite yet. That's a Ripchild in the bot lane. Few cheeky steals there on the Krugs by Kiss Me Slow. And now 5-5 in kills after what was originally 4-1 in kills. And it's all just spiraling out of control from that top lane.
And Triforce already completed here for Darius means that Power Spike is alive and well for him. Meanwhile, Kiss Me Slow is going to get subjugated here. Going to pop the box as well. Try to get as much damage back, but his teammates just leave him to die.
Yep, and that is still a advantage picked up here, since they were able to get that bot tower with that Rift Herald and able to get this mid tower as well. So objectives going in the favor of Yukon. They're up 3-0 in towers, 2-0 in Rift Heralds, and I mean, Anonymous Esports, they're gonna have to like contest this next dragon here, because you can't just be giving over all of these objectives.
Can't, and that's just gold going over to your opponent. So far, they're hovering right at about a 3K gold lead for themselves. And yes, that's not all that much, but 17 minutes in the game, it can do a lot of harm. As well as the Dragon coming up in 45 seconds. That Mountain Dragon is going to set the pace for who is going to be closer to that soul for themselves. As that could be a beneficial part here. I definitely think you would have rather, obviously, had the Infernal, but I think that the Mountain Dragon can provide a lot of benefits to these team comps in general.
Yeah, because just that extra shield and all the extra resists here is going to be very clutch for both these compositions, because, I mean, having all that extra resist, not to mention the shield against the MF Orianna Wombo combo, it's going to make it harder to execute. But also, that shield and resist here on Yanfeng, on Halal, and Hades is going to be quite the nuisance to deal with, especially when you combine that with the Chrono shift there. But it's going to be the Earth Dragon started up here as everyone's around. The hook does land.
Lands onto Lissandra, not exactly the moment you want to go to. Flash comes out prematurely from Orianna, able to, but the bullet time comes back through as well. A lot of spread around these fights, but huge shockwave right in the middle of everything, as that's going to be a big turner of the fight. It was the Chrono shift that saved Yanfeng, but not for long, as it is now Bug showing up on this Orianna, doing so much damage in these fights, and able to use that shockwave to turn it all around.
Yeah, and just such a huge turnaround there. There wasn't enough damage, and Yanfeng used the subjugate very late in that fight. Like, I imagined had it been used earlier, that would have helped him get through Scorcher Blaze or Fluoride that much more easily, but that's not the case here. He doesn't use it until he revives, and by that point, it's already too late. He gets demolished.
Just a bit unfortunate. It was just such a spread fight, and it didn't really seem like it needed to be, but it seemed like there was also a lot of indecision coming out from the side of Anonymous there to really completely engage on the fight and try to go in on anybody. And then after that, you see everything coming down, all the ultimates, and you're kind of caught to where now you're forced to be in a bad position but still take the fight.
Yeah, and it's just kind of the rock and a hard place that you're stuck between here as Anonymous. And I mean, you got to do something in these team fights. Like, they were kind of close to the edge of glory there, Lemons, and it's still even in kills 7-7, and it's definitely not a done deal by any means. It's just the gold lead is definitely at a noticeable point right now. 3,000 separating these two teams, the 3 towers, the 1 dragon, the 2 Riptails, and it's just all snowballing from this top lane here. See if it changes, but we're going to have another scuffle.
Was looking to be a scuffle, but the 3 members from Anonymous are going to be able to get out of there without any harm coming their way. They definitely wanted to commit onto that tower, but having the defense there is not possible. Meanwhile, we see another tower fall to this almighty Darius in the bot side.
I mean, what do you honestly do against him? Because no one can really stand up to him. Shades, he needs some help, but he is actually able to kill this Darius. Outside of that, no one is able to kill this Darius right now. You need this Varus focus firing him with this Blade of the Rune King, with this upcoming Ginsus, and he will be able to shred through him, especially in team fights if Yanfeng does subjugate him. But we're going to have to get to a team fight first, and I do feel like there is probably going to be one somewhat soonish, with Baron on the table. But if Halal leaves this lane, Flora just kind of takes the base.
Exactly, and that has been the issue. It seems like this Darius in the side lane. Ooh, Chains of Corruption going to go wide. But they did catch out Boomer there as a huge shockwave comes through to buy a little bit of time, but the engage on the Snicker is there from Scorched as he's going to get taken down. Big shutdowns going on as that gold goes over to Trundle, and Shades is still standing with just a bit of help. Now the TP comes down from Shen.
The pocket sand?
The bot lane. But Yanfei's got to be real careful here. Bug is super strong right now, and we're going to see a back coming through from Darius. They're going to be able to get their first tower here, it looks like.
Yeah, and that's what happens when basically all of your gold lead is on this Darius here for Fluoride. We see a 4 versus 4 breakout in the mid lane, and with that immediate catch onto Boomer, the beautiful chrono break onto Shades to keep him alive, like, that is a very easy dub for Anonymous Esports. They even have the Stand United just to keep things 100% safe there in the end, and Halal able to cheekily teleport back, just flying all over the map on the Shen, able to keep this inhibitor tower alive too. His team, though, not able to really get too much off of it, aside from those kills, and that mid lane outer. Still, though, you will take those dubs.
Pings on the Baron coming down as well. We might get to see a quick start here by Connecticut, and they're looking at it.
This is a very early Baron. Like, no one on the side of Anonymous Esports expects this, I think, although it's going to be sniffed out here by Snickers. Keep in mind, though, that Yanfeng is on those Raptors right now. This Baron already down past that halfway point. They finally sniff it out, but what are they going to do?
Exactly. The Baron goes down. Big shockwave onto Hades as he's getting dropped down to the ground. As Chrono Shift comes out, goes right back into it, gets taken out by the bullet time. Now the follow-up is here, though. The rest of the fight, it's going to actually be Kiss Me Slow who gets caught out at the end there. And now Yanfeng is looking to follow it all up, but Baron buffs aplenty. They are running for the hills here and trying to save their buffs. Don't think they're going to want to go under tower. As Scorch is going to be in some serious trouble here. He's definitely going to be in some trouble. As he's going to pop the Umbral Trespass, try and get a bit of healing. He goes in for the kill, not going to be able to get it. Shades able to pick that one up, and a wonky fight going through, but actually comes out in favor of Anonymous.
And Hades able to stall for so long there with the Frozen Tomb, and then just when you finally thought the man, the myth, the legend was dead, here comes Snickers MVP with that Chrono Shift and just instantly ulting him. That is going to be the Earth Dragon spawning right now. Still no Scorcher Blaze with the Smite here for UConn. So it is a 5 versus 4, and a lot of the ultimates have come back up. Stand United back up. The Frozen Tomb back up in a few seconds. Chrono Shift back up. Although Snickers MVP low on mana with this Zillion, so we'll have to see how that works out. As that is still being started up here, and Scorched Blaze, he's coming as fast as he can, but is that fast enough?
No, they have the advantage here. Descendants is going to land on Snickers. The flash flay forward, but it's not going to be in range of the bullet time as the rest of the fight's going on until Halal. As Guillotine is going to get the kill for Fluoride, but a bit unfortunate for Kiss Me Slow. He was trying to set up the hero play there and flay all 3 of them into the bullet time, but the distance was just a little bit off.
Yeah, and that is very worth here if you're Anonymous Esports. 1 for 1, you get the Dragon, and you also still all out that Baron buff even longer. I mean, still, though, there is some Baron buff available here as we see Boomer and Bug in this mid lane. I believe they should be able to get this mid tower with those Baron minions, with this MF hammering away. It's not too much longer for this world. Gonna take a few more autos since all the minions died and it did kind of lose those bonuses. Fluoride doing a lot of work on that bottom tower, but you have to run away. Yanfeng coming in, and with Snickers MVP potentially hastening this Trundle, you're not going to outrun that.
But good on him for still providing that pressure and making it to where Anonymous have to always play on the back foot. They know that the Darius is going to be looking at these side lanes, and they need to keep them properly managed to be able to not have to deal with that when these objectives come up. We won't have another objective for another 3 minutes, though, so I'm sure we're going to kind of fall right back down into that farming state that we've seen be very, very heavily used in these last 2 games, at least.
Might have a little potential scuffle in the top wave here, as there are a lot of members of the Yukon squad up here. But the opposite is true on the other side.
It's going to be Fluoride getting caught out completely here. He cannot do anything. Big ulti's coming out. He's turned big himself, but the shutdown going over. That's 700 gold just deposited into Shade's bank account.
Yeah, and that is a pretty damn big pickup, because that was gold onto 4 other members as well. It's going to cost them this top lane inner, though, so Yukon definitely making the best of it. Kiss Me Slow, though.
Kiss Me Slow with the next level plays, but next level he dead is the Thresh, as Hades is going to pick up that one. And it was a good attempt. Did not predict the Trundle to be there.
Yeah, Kiss Me Slow just not having the best of series. I think he's had, what, I feel like over 25 deaths in total this series, maybe?
It's been for sure.
It's been a rough going,
but
I don't blame the man.
Last game, so I mean, that was the game that I was questioning, because Lulu, I mean, she had like 3 deaths within 2 minutes at one point, and that was still able to pull out a win. So it's all about the dub, Gofrino.
Yeah, but these objectives are going to be up kind of soon here, and you don't want to be dropping 2 members for a tower when Baron is up, or potentially a 3rd Earth Dragon. So, I don't know, we might see a slight change in game plans here going into these next few minutes, Lemons, as I do feel like they are going to be pretty telling for the tempo and the rest of the game here.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing I do want to point out is Vision has been a bit sparsely put across the map here. You do have a lot of it centered around the Baron. You have little wards sprinkled out everywhere else. The biggest thing for me is that Fluoride is so strong right now, but not having that TP means that he's not as much of a threat as he would be with it.
Yeah, because keep in mind, what's probably going to happen here is that this Baron's going to be fought over. Halal's going to go in, and that's going to be a very easy 5-for-4. Fluoride, at best, he's going to be able to get that inhibitor at this point in the game. I don't think he's going to be able to get a Nexus turret, because his team's probably going to have lost by then. Halal has the teleport. He can just come right back in, and it looks like Yukon is going to go with the bring the fight to the Shen lane strategy here, which always is a very great strategy against Shen, as his inhibitor turret going to drop down very easily. Here's the teleport back behind, though, from Hades.
It's going to be a big one. Huge taunt lands by Halal. Going to get a 3-man stun there, but big bullet time over the top. But meanwhile, that TP comes in clutch from Hades, as he's able to pick off Boomer in the background, as Scorcher is trying to take a 1v3 and doing so successfully. As now the fight is actually going in favor of Connecticut. Scorcher has to be very careful here. He's still trying to take a 2v1, but he has a lot of healing available to him. Is he going to go down now as the Lantern comes through? The shield is enough. It is going to save his life. They get the inhib after all of that scuffling.
Yeah, 2-for-3 in the favor of Yukon. They also get that inhibitor, and that is what made or break the fight there. Just taking down Shades early on, because once Shades falls, there's not exactly any real damage on this Anonymous Esports lineup. So now you can just have that Darius at the Baron with you, and you'll have that pseudo 6th member in that bot lane pushing for you. Or even if you want to, put Fluoride in that top lane, and then they'll have to respond to 2 lanes on the side of Anonymous Esports. There are a lot of things to play with, but there's also this Earth Dragon, so we might just see another team pick that on up from the other's nose and be able to potentially put themselves on Soul Point and maybe have their own win con.
Yeah, you definitely see some pings coming down. I do want to highlight that Shades got caught in that fight and did not use any of his
Rotation.
so still has it available to him, and now the Dragon's just getting burned down. That's going to be sole point put on the side of Anonymous, and they're going to feel real nice with all that tankiness coming through.
Yeah, like the extra resists are just going to be so clutch, especially for LOL, especially for Yanfeng, and especially for Hades, because Hades, you don't want to go in and have to immediately pop that Frozen Tomb. You want to be able to get off a combo, then pop it. That way your cooldowns are back up once you pop on out of it. And just having the extra, what is it per stack? I want to say, yeah, 6% armor and MR per stack. That's putting him at 111 and 49 in right now in terms of armor MR. So that is going to be definitely a little bit of a noticeable bump up. It's definitely not going to make him some sort of uber tank, but if it does buy you that extra half second to a second before you have to pop that Frozen Tomb, hey, that might just make the difference.
It could indeed, and Baron is actually going to be just started up here by Connecticut, and they're just looking to burn it down. You do have Shen across the map here, and Trundle is now starting to make his way here, but gotta be a little bit wary as how this is all going to work out. Fluoride has popped everything there, is going to get Chains of Corruption, stunning back and forth there. As Shen is
still aggroed.
The bot side of the map, though, you're pretty much changing out Darius for the Shen at this point, but will the Baron go down to the favor of Connecticut? As it does the fight ensue go in favor of them, as Hades gets a big stun in the middle of it, but a huge shockwave and a bullet time going over top, as Hades is getting very close to dead. He goes down to Boomer, as it's going to be Scorcher Blaze, but beautiful Stand United comes through onto Snicker, and that is a complete wipe. The only member left is Kiss Me Slow, and there's pings to the mid lane.
And that's how you play against this comp here. Like, you just have Halal. He's putting the Yukon squad on a timer here in that bot lane because you have to do something. Yeah, so they go for that Baron, but it just ends up going so wrongly for them. They get decently chipped out by the Baron, and then once Yanfeng comes in, drops that subjugate, the front line just melts.
It's going to be a big pickup here for Anonymous, as they're going to look to this inhib tower as well and take one for themselves. Is now one inhib taken down for one. And going to see a bit of a reset coming through from the side of Anonymous as well.
Yeah, and very well-deserved reset after that. Like, they took a huge team fight win. They took the mid lane inhibitor. They took the Baron, and it's like they got a lot of gold in their pockets. If we take a peek here, yeah, decent chunks, although a lot of them were spent in the time it took me to take a gander on at it. But even with all that said here, Lemons, like, it's still technically a gold lead, albeit just a few hundred for Yukon.
It looks like we're going to be getting to the later parts of the game here. We might have the dream of a 60-minute game. We've been slowly adding 10 minutes to it every time, seemingly. So maybe we actually get the long-standing dream here, as both teams really cautious to make those extra advances here. Not around the objectives, but around the base.
Yeah, I mean, they do still technically have one Baron buff on Kiss Me Slow, so they might be able to make something happen with that, as they are going to make one push here. This is a exposed top lane. Predator turret, Halal get eat up half his health.
My goodness, Bug putting in the damage there onto the Shen, who is not sitting with any MR, actually, and so that's going to be feeling real good for Bug to focus on that Shen if he can. Meanwhile, as you were saying, the push continues. Thresh trying to help with the Baron buff, and they're going to see if they can get it. We're going to maybe see a flank coming through here. Yanfeng with the speed, though, is going to connect the pillar onto Scorcher, who's going to have to use the Humble Trespass. It's a big bullet time coming through, though, as the hook connects on the Shen. That's not the member you want. The Shockwave only connects on the Shen, and now the fight is going in favor of the side of Anonymous, as everybody is just getting trounced here. The only one left is the one pushing at the bot lane all by himself. You're going to see an inhib taken down, and he's looking at the Nexus towers. Now flash forward, Oriana not going to be able to pick up anything, but a tower might fall here. That's a huge flash, double flash coming out. Halal tried to predict the flash, but Fluoride came out on top on that one. And while they're committing to all these side objectives, they are losing their base one by one.
But there's the pocket sand.
Going to be a huge one, though. That's Chrono Shift coming out. Shades is still firing away here. Does he have it? He is able to take down Boomer there, as the rest is going to follow up. Another! Oh my goodness! Go for Farino. What just happened? AP is alive on Bug, and he is showing up clutch.
Yeah, and good God, the zero magic resist team comp really showing how susceptible it is to these shockwaves here. But look at this move in here. Oh, Fluoride.
Or he doesn't even care. Shades of Corruption is going to be used. The guillotine going to smack down, but Shades is able to do work on his own and pick up that one. Big Stand United coming through to block the damage from that second guillotine.
This is Soul Point, though.
Dragon here. They're going to look at Soul Point, and this could be a change in the huge momentum that has started to develop in favor of Anonymous.
He's on the side. Hades does have the Frozen Tomb. There is a taunt, so they have the methods to stop this man.
Right, he takes it! He gets the steal. We are going to 7 dragons this time around again, and we are in for the long haul here. Go Farino.
Long haul. Great googly moogly lemons. Like, I feel like Anonymous Esports, they kind of misplayed that. Like, you can hold off the dragon there, especially after you see Scorcher Blaze there. Don't go for the dragon. Just hold it there. You can hold it, hop onto that cane, kill the cane, and then take the dragon. Hundo percento. But now both these teams on Soul Point, and that just made this game that much more of a Razor's Edge sort of game.
It is another Baron spawning in a minute here, as we're more than likely going to see some more fireworks over that position. And he's just getting so neck and neck, and lead only being 200 gold almost 40 minutes into the game. Go Frito is not a normal sight. Usually somebody has a lead by now, but I love to see it. It means both teams are putting everything they have into this series, and we're going to see somebody crowned the winner of this game 3.
Yeah, but
this
we're already 37 minutes into this game, Lemons, and we know how long the past 2 games have went, and I think at this point they're just kind of going on slightly intentionally to try and starve you and Hyper.
I think that's 100% the plan here. They know, they have found it out, and they know that we are starving here. But honestly, it's just been so amazing. Just the back and forth, the plays coming out. I've been having such a fun time, and we're gonna see a big Baron fight coming up here. More than likely, is still see the traditional 1v1 going on the bot side. But guess who has TP? It is Halal.
Yeah, and he has the Stand United, so he can do what he's been doing all game. Just Stand United in, teleport back. There's the pillar.
It's gonna be a big pillar as well. Kiss Me Slow is gonna get stunned up. It's gonna be the 1v1 between the Thresh over here, but Shades finally joins it, and unfortunately Kiss Me Slow was just caught on the bad end of that. That's going to be a big shot fate landing onto Yanfeng. Not going to be able to get anything there. They're just going to look to start up the Baron here, as Shen is still providing the defense. Are we going to see a contest coming out? Can Scorcher Blaze steal another objective?
It's gonna be hard, but look at the base.
Oh, that's going to be a lot of damage going on to Hades, but yes, it is Darius in the base. Can he win it while everybody else is following? Because that is all the members besides Bug being taken down around the Baron pit, and it's really putting all your eggs in the basket of Fluoride on this Darius to pull you into it, and he is unable to really get a big siege going on. Bug was trying to stay around to
5 seconds till shockwave,
but that is going to be a lot of damage coming through from Hades, but he's still able to return it as well. Another big shockwave is not going to land. Chrono Shift is going to be used though, and that is the double bomb nightmare. That is the Zillion, as Fluoride is going to have to run for his life. Baron buffs are alive here for Anonymous, and they're going to use it to provide a lot of defense here.
Yeah, and that was without Halal going in that fight. Like, he knew he had to stay in the base there, or else they would have lost the game. And still, it was a 4 versus 4, but a very handy-dandy win coming out from Anonymous Esports. It helps a lot. They're able to just catch out Kiss Me Slow 3 versus 1 at the start of that fight, and then get a beautiful dive onto Boomer later that fight. So now that bot lane inhibitor respawned, Fluoride, he can't really split push here, because if he's down in the lower quadrant of the map, and there's a 5 versus 4 with Baron buff that happens in his base, I think his team just loses the series here, as that's going to be the teleport coming out, but this time from Hades. Oh, Yanfeng, better drop the pillar.
Yeah, Chain's going to land as well onto Scorcher, who's going to have to use the Umbral Trespass. Meanwhile, on the backside, Boomer's getting engaged on there. Huge Stand United coming out onto Hades, though. This could just be the fight they were looking for. Another big shockwave coming through, but it doesn't do as much as normal. As now it's the members falling. This could just be it. This could just be taking Anonymous to the Game 3. They're going to take it in this last fight, and they win this 3-game, long, drawn-out series.
And drawn out it is. We could have had a Mona Lisa done by now with how drawn out this series was, Lemons. Holy moly. But in the end, just the teamwork from this 5-man roster here for Anonymous Esports in this game number 3, this composition came out so clutch. Sure, they're down a lot early game, especially in that top lane, but the lack of the teleport on Fluoride's Darius, I think that's what honestly really crippled this Yukon inside this game, because just not being able to match that global pressure hurt them so much.
Really did, and it's just so interesting to see how that ended up playing out. I mean, Fluoride wasn't able to do what he wanted to do because Shen was in response, and that's something we highlighted from the very beginning. The global utility from Halal on the Shen with the Stand United, but also having the TP to respond to Fluoride, who honestly we could have seen coming from a mile away, wasn't going to take the TP on the Darius, and it just came up so clutch for Halal.
Yeah, and I mean, 3 teleports to 1, it kind of speaks for itself there at the end of the game. And
my question is, who you got to give the MVP to? Because it's a bit of a difficult story here, I feel like.
I feel like it's either Shades or Snickers. Like,
so my
Shades
personal sell is definitely Shades. It is unfortunate he had to play, or I guess maybe chose to play, Varus 3 games in a row, but my goodness, this man showing the viability on all the different, well, maybe not all the different builds, but at least 2 different builds on Varus. And yes, game 2 didn't really go the way that he wanted, but I still think he had a good performance. And so that would be my vote here. I think Shades just had a stellar day. There were ups and downs, but overall, I think he was really the rock on the team.
Yeah, and I'm split myself here between Shades and Snickers, but I'll also give it to Shades since he did, and I, of course, trust my best buddy caster Lemons here.
I appreciate it. It has been a heck of a ride here with you, Gopherino. This has been my first cast with Upsurge officially, and has been just an absolute blast. I am so appreciative of everybody that tuned in and stuck with us through all 3 of these games, going on 3.5 hours as well. So thank you again to everyone for tuning in. That is going to be it here from us for the night. Make sure to tune in to all of our social medias to make sure you catch the next game going on the stream. So until then, we'll see you next time on Summoner's Rift.